team, we make the best tabletop gaming mats in the universe. Our mats are durable, rollable, foldable, wipeable, and storable. Oh, and they look damn great too. Join the thousands of tournament regulars and garage gamers who use our mats to bring their gaming surfaces to life. To ensure quality, Frontline gaming mats are custom made one at a time, printed with high quality ink. Our immersive designs stay crisp and are available in a wide range of styles and sizes. So whether you're playing a war game or a skirmish game, whether you're fighting over an alien tundra, fantastical forest, or real-world setting, there's a great-looking battlefield for you. Our gaming mats are printed on extremely durable neoprene backing, so they won't slide around the table, and they're thick enough to stay flat, protecting what's underneath and allowing for slight uneven surfaces. We know from experience that an easily portable gaming surface is just better. Every mat comes with a sturdy nylon zip-up bag for storage and transportation. Whether your next battle is in your home or at the local game store, you'll be able to unroll your FLG mat and get gaming right away. Our products are all made and tested by passionate gamers at Frontline Gaming HQ right here in the USA. It's time to take your battlefield to a new level. Frontline Gaming, champions of tabletop.
Welcome back to the SoCal Open 2021. We had some more technical difficulties, which we apologize for, but we are back in it, and I am joined, of course, by Adam Camilleri. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing quite well, mate. My lethargy has lifted. I was talking a bit too slowly in the past one, so I promised to hit nothing but Warp 10, Warp 2, whatever. I don't know. Whatever they say on Star Trek.
It's a popular theory that you were talking too slowly. Yes.
It is, yeah. Sorry, I'll actually try and pare it back a little bit for you guys. Keep it respectable. I've got to chain my enthusiasm for this wonderful game we play.
But yeah, we have a hell of a round 3. I'm actually excited for a lot of these tables. But our top 3 matchups here are awesome. I mean, more awesome matchups.
Yeah, So we actually have we brought our top table to you guys. Our top table being Ben Jurek against Joe Wilson. That is Freebooters Orcs versus Dark Angels. That should be quite a cracking game. What's the next one, man?
So for table 2, we have Brandon Grant with his sisters versus Evan Stump's
Death Watch.
Death Watch, I guess. Yeah, it's all Death Watch.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought he had something else in there, but it's all Death Watch versus sisters. It's going to be an interesting one.
That's going to be an interesting one. Well, we think this mission favors Brandon a little bit more. It is Vital Intelligence for those following along at home. And our last table, we have one of the fantastic champion ladies in our scene, Trish McDade, playing her Mixed Knights and Admech against Justin Marcus. He's playing, is it Death Guard?
Death Guard, yes. And it's looking like more of a midfield control Death Guard game. So we'll see how that works. No Mortarion, though. Immediately gets marks.
Well, is she playing as Mortarian's? Sorry, is he playing as Mortarian's Anvil? So he's giving his props. That's not good enough, though. Is
that
it?
Doesn't count.
Do you actually think Morty has play in the current meta?
Yes, of course he does. He's still one of the most unkillable things in the game, and I mean, like, he doesn't pair well against a lot of things, but even against something like Freebooter Orcs, I mean, what does Freebooter Orcs do against Mortarion?
Well, that's right. I mean, rocket trucks do literally nothing. Dacker jets do nothing. I mean, the WAS bomb can spike, but then he just walks up and kills the WAS bomb because it needs to be within 24 to do the damage.
Well, I think it's also too swingy because he has a 4-up invul. So
yeah, exactly.
It just can swing either way.
And a D3 plus 3 go through and you roll a 6. I cool, he takes 6 damage. 5 if you want to pain. I took 4. Thank you very much.
Well, 6 to 5 because it's minus 1 damage.
To 5, and he takes the 3. And of course, he can be miasmid and etc. etc. Yeah. It is an interesting one. Let's go to the top table. Let's go to table 1 and give you guys a little bit of call of the action. What are you seeing here, mate?
Well, it looks like they're deep into their turn 1. We should go through their lists and secondaries. So I'll go with Ben Jurek's Freebooters first. So he's taken To the Last, Retrieve Octarius Data, Praise Rod. Sorry, I said it wrong. And Engage in all fronts. We don't. If our guys can tell us which are his To the Last targets, that would be good. Yeah, what are Ben Jerks to the last?
To the last, let's have a quick little gaze at that list. Because a lot of people, he has got a beast box on Squigosaur as well, I believe he does, which will be one of them, of course. That's one of the whole reasons to bring him in the freebooters list, is that he comes with that almost by default. The next one would have to be the Wazbomb, right? At 190 points.
Yeah, so it looks like it's the Wazbomb, the Squig Boss, and of course the 3 Megatrack Scrapjets.
Okay, and it's actually his two Rucker Trucks actually outweigh the Squig Boss by 30 points. So it's a squadron of 2 Rucker Trucks, a squadron of 3 Scrapjets, and that Wazbomb Blaster Jet. But the thing is, so he's playing a triple Deathwing Brick Dark Angels list. This is wielded by Joel. The breakdown here: Ezekiel, Lazarius, Blade Guard Ancient, unit of 5 Blade Guard Vets, 3 10-man Deathwing Terminator squads with a conglomeration of a minimum of 2 Cyclones, bunch of Stormbolters, bunch of Thunderhammers, and Storm Shields. He's actually gone for Chain Fists as well, which I think is the right choice with all the -1 damage out there. At least you have the ability to get to 2 damage, and of course that Ravenwing Apothecary. Did you run through the entirety of the Orcs list?
Oh, I did not. I'll do that. I was going to wait till you're finished, but I will do that right now. So for the freebooters list, he's taking a typically freebooters patrol detachment with a Death Killer Wartrike, a unit of Gretchen, a unit of 3 Megatrax Scrapjets, 1 unit of Storm Boys, and then 2 mech guns with custom mega cannons, of course. And then he has 2 DACA jets in that detachment as his flyers. And then he has an Outrider detachment that's also freebooters with the Beast Boss on Squigosaur, 1 unit of Commandos, 2 individual Scrapjets, 1 unit of 2 Squig Buggies, 1 single Squig Buggy, and then a unit of Storm Boys, a unit of Warbikers, and 2 more individual mech guns with a DACA jet, of course, and the Wazbomb, going the full 4-flyer list. Apparently, Orcs had forgotten to deploy 1 model, and the Dark Angels asked if he wanted to spend the CP to put it in reserves. So,
okay, what was the choice? What did he actually end up doing with it?
We're finding that out right now.
Interesting development already. Now, we both looked at this matchup and we're like, I worry for the Dark Angels, and mostly because of the mission. Yeah, we're playing. Is it Vital Intelligence, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And I mean, like, this is definitely a mission that favors 1, mobility, and 2, multiple small units to essentially just have throwaways on objectives, both of which the Dark Angels player does not have.
Yeah. On top of that, he's facing a player who has the right profiles to kill his stuff, to just kill his stuff. Having 3 bricks and essentially only having like one of them will have a big old anti-target pointed on it when it has the -1 damage, e.g. do not shoot me, shoot everything else. And essentially he's going to have 2 whole Terminator bricks to just wear down over time at will. If he wants to focus down 1, he can focus down 1. If I was him, I'm looking at his secondaries. He's taken Oath of Moment, Data Intercept, and Bring It Down. Now, Bring It Down makes a lot of sense. That means every time he kills something, he's getting 2 or 3 points. Data Intercept is the one I'm worried about.
Interesting. I'm actually worried about Oath of Moment, because I feel like him taking Oath of Moment literally is forcing himself into the fire lane.
Well, but it doubles down on Bring It Down, yeah? So you get 1 point for not falling back, and you get another point every time you kill a vehicle. And he's going to kill a vehicle pretty much every turn. So it's a real safe way of getting 10 points.
It's less. Sorry. So it's less of a committal to take the center and more of a committal to essentially just kill a vehicle every turn.
Exactly right. And if he holds the middle with a unit for 2 turns of the game, that's a 14-pointer. You know, that's not too bad. But yeah, Data Intercept. I feel like he's going to get maybe 8 points on Data Intercept. I would have rather see him go Stubborn Defiance. I don't know why he didn't pick it, unless there's a ruling I don't know about at FLG events saying that you can't take 2 non-GT pack secondaries.
I do believe that, so you can't take it. Well, because don't think you can take it. Yeah, I don't think that you can take both Oath of Moment and Stubborn Defiance. Can you? Can you take? I don't think you can take 2 codex secondaries.
So they're from 2 different codexes. There's some people have ruled that you can't, and I believe that you really should not be able to. But some events have ruled that you can. Like in Australia, they've ruled that you can. There's nothing wrong with it. And so I do. I take Stubborn Defiance. I take Oath of Moment, or I take Stubborn Defiance. And while we stand, we fight.
Well, here's my question.
Auto 30 points, and it's stupid.
Here's my question though: is if he takes Stubborn Defiance, does that just give a prime target for his planes to go after turn 1 and then force him to choose between putting the -1 damage on that unit versus his Oath of Moment unit?
as soon as you take Stubborn Defiance, that unit gets -1 damage the entire game. It sits in cover all game, or in this case in a forest, and then you just sit it there. You sit it there in a 0-up armor save, -1 to hit, -1 damage, and the orcs might shoot that unit all game and not kill it, or they can dunk it in one turn. But we're going to take a transition over to table 2. But yeah, it's interesting they didn't take Stubborn Defiance over Oath of Moment, because I would have thought that would be an auto 15 rather than Oath being kind of an auto 10. So we'll see what happens there. We're going to hit that transition over to table 2.
He's taking heroes on a 5-up, right?
All right, well, it looks like they're fully deployed.
Yeah, it's on the same place.
I need to mention something in the chat. Whenever Matthew, please let Adam know that I heard he may make a trip to the States. He said, Virgil M and Cam WPM would be Rose. Make sure he comes through safely, and I'll get it from there. Dude, man, if I'm coming to the States, Matthew, if I'm coming anywhere you are, you let me know. We'll go have dinner, we'll go hang out. You've been an absolute champion and support of everything that everyone does. So we really do appreciate you, and we want to honour and kind of celebrate your contributions. I'm sorry, Matt, tell us about this game.
Well, first, I do have an update on table 1. So he forgot to deploy the Death Build War Train. So he needed it strategic.
Yeah, you wouldn't just let that auto die. You'd pay the CP, right?
Oh, of course. I mean, I think that's his speed walk.
Yeah, exactly right.
So
yeah, exactly right. Well, that just means no speed walk turn 1. That's actually a big deal.
It does. I think it's actually less of an impact against the Terminator list, because I think
exactly
that
right.
He has no real way to get rid of the planes, and they're like the most effective source to get rid of these Terminators. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not that huge a deal.
It may hurt him, but it may hurt him not as much as you'd think. Table 2 we got going on here. So Brandon Grant with his sisters against Evan Stump's very blue, I must say, Death Watch.
Sorry, apologies, mate. We got word in the chat that as soon as we is it when we just no. Val's already looking at chat. He's already all over it. Just continue, brother.
So those are some very blue looking Death Watch, I must say.
Yes, they are. Don't you love it?
I see those Ultra symbols. Maybe they're just all from the Ultramarines. I mean, that could have just happened. Putting them on blast.
So this is what I was afraid of. So we talked about this matchup a bit in the off screen. So this is Sisters versus Deathwatch, but my god, this is a very good anti-mech Sisters list. We think he has all the tools here to dunk on dreads, and his opponent has a lot of dreads to dunk on. Tell us about this Deathwatch list, though. Give us the wrap up.
Okay, so basically the idea of this is that there's a ball of dreadnoughts that all sit around the Dominus Aegis relic, which gives them the automatic 5-up invulnerable save. Now, unfortunately, I've just been told that the first Redemptor that died exploded on basically that entire center portion of the army. So, yeah, as you said, I mean, when Brandon come into this table with 3 units of Retributors, ouch.
Yeah. In addition to having all the Valorous Heart and Mortal Wound dumps and the Storm Bolters to put in some more work with more mortal wounds, just feels like he was tailored to kill like 3 dreads in a turn.
By Valorous Heart, you mean Armored Lady? But
whichever one's the non-Bloody
it's Armored
Rose.
Lady. How dare you?
If it's not Bloody Rose, it's just the rest, right?
He's running Armored Lady, I believe, because he can take the Specialist Detachment, which gives him the shooting on death. And he gets the sword relic that does mortal wounds, which is really awesome.
That Canoness is a juggernaut. She is phenomenal, amazingly good value. She like is comparable to like a super succubus. She's that good, guys.
Oh, amazing! And especially because he gave her Rapturous Blows, which gives her the once per game ability to make it so all combats within the range of the Miracle Dice you sacrifice do mortal wounds on 6s.
So for those following along. Brandon has gone first and killed all 3 Redemptors turn 1.
Yeah.
All dead. Turn 1. Brandon just jumped in and just did it. We'll give you a quick rundown of the lists, and then we're going to hit a transition over to table 3. Tell us what's in this Deathwatch list before we move on.
Okay, yes, because we got sidetracked there. There's lots happening. So the idea of the list, it's balled around a group of dreadnoughts. So there were 3 Redemptor dreadnoughts, all with heavy onslaught Gatling cannons, 2 Relic Contemptors with the common Volkite build, and then some company veterans. And then the real ball of it is there are 3 firstborn units, as they're referred to, or Proteus kill teams that have essentially a bunch of veterans with shotguns and a group of bikers with Vanguard veterans, which allows them to both fall back, shoot, and charge with stratagems, but also it gives the bikes the ability to move through walls, which is very powerful.
Bubble Hearth Zed, you mean that was the list? Savagery.
How?
That's brutality.
Ouch. Man, give the man some room to breathe. Jeez.
I'll give you a quick rundown of what Brandon's brought. He's got a battalion, of course, of our Armated Lady, the Super Cannons with the Rapturous Blows, Junith Eruta, a Palatine, Erita, whatever. Erita. 3 units of Battle Sisters, one with some hand flamers for some reason, and probably extra points. 3 units of 9 Sacrosants, all with halberds, which I think is the premium choice at the moment.
Yes, absolutely.
2 units of 2 Crusaders and a single Dogmata. 2 units of Dominions, all with Artificer Stormbolts, because there is no other good option that compares. A unit of 9 Zephyrim for his counter assault option. 3 units of multi-melter Retributors, all with 2 Cherubs. One of them only has 3 multi-melters, and that one has a Simulacrum in addition. The other 2 have 4 multi-melters apiece, and of course, 3 ubiquitous Rhinos to tote all of those around. This list is first turn savagery. It's very, very, very strong.
It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. All right, so we should jump over to table 3 real quick and check up on them.
Yeah, let's have a quick look in. Now, this is an interesting matchup on table 3. So these are two defeated players, unfortunately. But despite that, it's a really cool matchup. One that you guys hopefully will be keen to see. Death Guard versus Knights. Well, majority Knights with a patrol of AdMech, yeah? Yeah,
so why don't you tell us about the Knights list?
Yeah, firstly, beautiful paint job. They look actually like, I don't know, they look like Chaos Knights to you? Because they do to me. Like all the cracks and scraggly bits all down there. It looks like
they're weathered. I mean, they're nice.
I can't tell if it almost looks so crisp on the on that freehand. Almost looks like it's a decal over the top. But yeah, some wonderful paint job there. Now who we got? So Trisha McDade, she's piloting our Knights and AdMech. Starts off with a super heavy detachment. This one is House Crast, so super melee. Armiger Helvrin with the autocannons, of course. 2 Warglaves with the thermal spears and heavy stubbers. Didn't have the points for the melter guns, naturally. 2x2 lightning lock Moiraxes. That's 5 baby knights. And then here come the 2 big knights. A Knight Magera with the 2+I armor save Sainted Ion, and the reroll wants to hit first Knight War trait from House Crust, and then another Knight Magera, this one with Iron Bulwark. Then to round out the list, she has a patrol detachment, a Tech Priest Engine Seer to repair some knights, get it be annoying. 2 units of 5 Rangers, X101, the Blackstone Fortress.
Yes.
The Blackstone Fortress little robot boy, Man of Iron, and a single Scorpius Disintegrator.
Of course, he's totally not a Man of Iron. I mean,
definitely not. Couldn't possibly be. Couldn't possibly be. But yeah, I actually quite like this list. If it was me, I maybe might not have the Disintegrator in some matchups. I might prefer to instead take out one of the troops, take out the Disintegrator, and have 2 units of maybe Cerberus Raiders. So you get to play that defensive game as well if you want, and those can go up and kind of body block, get in the way for your bigger knights if you're worried about counter charges or you're about them getting like dunked on from one side of the board to the other. So, but I still really like the direction of this list.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, I'm thinking that the Disintegrator may have been a choice with the new terrain setup, essentially.
Yeah, for
harass
sure.
Backfield a little bit. But yeah, the Knights list is amazing. I think this is a difficult matchup for the Death Guard. There's just a ton of damage 3 and heavy combat. As for the Death Guard, this is being run by Justin Marcus. So what we're looking at is Mortarion Zanvil. We have a... Sorry, just a second there. So we're looking at a Biologist Putrefier who has the Arch Contaminator Warlord trait and Plague Chosen. We have the Tallyman. It's got Toll Keeper, of course.
Of course.
2 Malignant Plague Casters.
Interesting.
That's an odd choice. Usually you only see one of those. 3 units of 10. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go. Sorry, Matt.
3 units of 10 Poxwalkers, just your standard troops. I would like one of those to be a 20 blob, but that's personal choice. He has a unit of, it looks like 8. If I can count correctly, 8 Blightlord Terminators. The Sergeant, of course, has the Plague Skull of Glothilla. 2 Chaos Contemptors with Twin Volkite, kind of a standard. 2 units of 3 Death Shroud Terminators. A Foul Blight Spawn with Revolting Stench Vats. And then, my love, the Fetid Blowtrap with Flesh Mower.
I do. I adore the Flesh Mower. Just love it. Oh my
god. It's a Flesh Mower. How can you not like it? And then, of course, the standard, bog standard, in my opinion, 2 PBCs, Plague Burst Crawlers, just one of, if not the best tank in the game.
We've just had our production boy in the ear. What's up, Val? Oh my god. So
Okay.
so far, okay, so apologies. The top table, Ben Jurek just shot his entire orc army into the Terminators, killed 2 models. So in effect, killed 1 model because 1 model is going to come back.
I'm
So
assuming this unit here.
I'm assuming that
Probably.
unit too as well. That is a good turn, dude. This is a thing we may not have zeroed in on. The clever use of the forest is going to be a big deal, yeah.
Oh yeah, of
Because
course.
there's actually 3 forests readily available to the Deathwing player.
Yeah, we see here, one here, one here. The third one is like tucked in the corner here. That -1, that is an Achilles heel of freebooters. Is if there's because like how do they proc early when there's -1 everywhere?
And exactly, well, against this army, what do you proc off? You're not procking off anything. You're never going to get the freebooters bonus, realistically. Like,
That
what are you
is
going to kill?
true.
You're going to wipe out 10 Terminators and still have shooting left to put into another 10 Terminators? It's just not a thing.
I guess he doesn't have any of the 2-man little throwaway veteran Terminator units that they usually have to score back
Yeah.
objectives. So
Exactly right. Well, the only unit he has that may be exposed, he's got a unit of I can't remember if it's 5 or 6 Blade Guard veterans. That's the squishiest thing. When 5 Blade Guard veterans that can be transhumaned at will
Yeah.
is your squishiest thing, you're doing all right in my books.
So it's like, are they squishy? Because the whole army has transhuman, and then they just get it for 1 CP. So
sorry, they've always got it. They got Deathwing keyword. They just get
right,
transhuman.
they do.
Perma transhuman. They just
Uh-huh.
get it. Yeah. So
really
Freebooters is irrelevant. He gets nothing for being freebooters. It's not a thing in this game. It's just literally does his gun enough.
Yeah,
but that is a big reason why Speed War is big here, I think.
Yeah. So I actually am going to stick with what I said originally. I think that maybe having not Speedwalk turn 1 is actually okay.
Yeah?
Because I think then it gives the Dark Angels a choice. They either choose to stay where they are and they'll never get top primary ever.
Yep.
Or they choose to spread out, and at that point they have to leave the forests.
Exactly right. So the way I see it, and this is what I was saying about Stubborn Defiance, so what I thought was going to happen is exactly what's kind of happened. 1 unit of Terminators for each of the objectives. And for people who know this mission, this is a Vanguard. It's a corners. You know, you deploy with your button to a corner. And
Yes.
It turns into Hammer and Anvil every game. Every game, turn 1 becomes Hammer and Anvil.
It does
and
the swish. The swish as it's called.
Everyone heads straight up to their top 2 objectives and straight down to their bottom 2 objectives, and that's exactly as we see right now. But with the very limited mobility of the Deathwing, it's literally there's going to be a 40-40 primary. There's no real much chance of this not being a 40-40 primary game, unless 10 Terminators get picked up. So there's really no risk for Ben to get less than 40 primary in my game, and he can only really gain on the primary. So what he wants to do is just give his opponent a 5. Just give him a 5 anywhere, and he can guarantee he's going to win the primary battle. It's going to go his way.
Well, yeah, and as you pointed out, this is where possibly the Dark Angels player Joel is going to be in a trouble spot, because is his secondary is going to end up being the deciding factor of this game.
Yeah, exactly right. Art of War down under 40k in the chat. That'll be my man, Joshua Diffie. Thank you so much for joining us, you wonderful, wonderful human being. Please, everybody, give a lot of love to Diffie. He does so much for the game behind the scenes. Absolute legend of the scene. Nogel Matthew just loving upon everybody, heaping love everywhere. Sam Lemon has joined us as well, and points out that Death Killer Wartrike was off the table, so therefore he couldn't spare while turn 1. I seem to think it's a big deal that he couldn't do it turn 1 and get that alpha. Maybe kill 2 or 3 more Terminators. Because having a 0-up save, going to the neg-3 with the 0-up save takes them to at least a 3-up or a 4-up if they don't have the 0-up. Whereas without it, you're just bouncing off 2 pluses with just about every one of your guns. But Andrew has the opposite opinion. He's thinking it's better to have it later in the game, and we'll see. We'll see which one would have been better, really.
Yeah, I might be wrong in that opinion. I mean, it just comes down to positioning where the Dark Angels go. Do they commit too far, or do they just stay in position and somehow and make amazing saves? I mean, killing only 2 models turn 1 that's
Yikes.
not a good sign.
Big yikes. One thing to point out is me and Andrew and myself, we ran the math on essentially the damage output from the Deathwing player in this matchup, and we're like, opportunistically, he kills 2 buggies a turn. And that's if he rolls well. Because he's got 12 cyclone missile shots, which we assume is going to be, some of them will be hitting on 3, some will be hitting on 4s. We're rolling 1s from Lazarus, so we assume he's going to have the ability to put maybe between 4 and 6d6 damage down on those, and then the pinch hitting bits and pieces from Storm Bolters to finish him off. So 2 buggies a turn And that's, but what does that do into flyers? It doesn't kill flyers. They got so many more wounds. Maybe he only kills one flyer return through the -1s to hit and things. And the 5+ invuln, which he's still in with 2 of his planes right now from the WAS bomb. Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting game. Do you want to hit a transition over to table 2?
Yeah, let's go check out table 2. There's going to be a lot happening on table 1. We'll get back to them.
And yeah, Nathan Fennell has just pointed out he used the planes to block the DA really moving forward to tie up the buggy. It's not a bad spot for the Orcs. Exactly right. The last thing you want to do, this is one thing I always do in my Deathwing list, I always have the chappie. Because let's say that one guy who got killed that turn, you res that guy in front, everybody moves up 5, and you get a 2d6 plus 2 charge. And so you can just go like, I was only going to move 5 inches last turn, to having, an effective +2 from that guy who reses, +2.5, +3, 8.5-inch move, plus a 2d6 plus 2 charge. You can really just slingshot like 18 inches off a really small unit. And that would really, really mix up this game. This game would get really spicy if that was to happen.
So it's looking on table 2. It looks like there's quite a bit of the Death Watch army that has moved. It looks like they've swept onto objectives in the bottom right and the mid center left. But all of the Redemptors are dead. Turn 1. Yep. That's already bad.
He's really had his hand forced. And you were saying about Martyred Lady, they shoot back on a 4+. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. That is part of their ability. Yes. It's an out of sequence shooting phase essentially. So killing Retributors in the shooting phase only allows them to essentially shoot a second time.
Yeah. So realistically, you want to charge them. You want to put these bikes and these Vanguard vet units to charge them in the combat phase, and then can they shoot into combat?
The Martyred Lady, no, they would have to fight.
Yeah, exactly. And who cares, really?
Now, interestingly, you would think normally the Relic Contemptors, which I've identified here, would be like a good saving grace to kill the sisters, but actually because he has Junith Arawita, who puts them all in cover, they all have 2+ saves.
2 pluses. It's a huge yikes. I mean, and that's why he didn't even bother, even touching the Contemptors. And I wouldn't. If I was Brandon, I ignore them all game. They're not going to do anything. Take away the OBSEC now that you've taken away the real damage dealing elements.
Oh yeah, I think that would be lights out if he took at least or severely damaged at least 2 of the kill teams. It's going to be hard for him to come back.
Exactly right. And with Brandon going first, next turn, I don't see the Zephyr on the table. Got to assume they're in reserve. We're able to get a little... Does he have his Miracle Dice anywhere we can see? If he's tracking an Auto 9 from reserve on the dice, that unit in the bottom right is just dead. It's just dead.
Hopefully our boys behind the scenes can tell us what Miracle Dice he's rolled so far. Also, I was just thinking, does he have any real tools left to deal with the Sacrosancts? I don't think he does.
Well, exactly right. What has he got that's going to go into that 2+ armor save and actually do anything relevant? Well, sorry, 1+ armor save because of cover from Junith. Nothing can hurt them.
No, I don't think there's anything left that can. I think the Redemptors were the best choice, and they are now gone. So I'm not sure what he can actually do to get rid of them. And I feel like if we're looking here, really realistically, the Death Watch player came this way and took those 2 objectives to try and score early. But all Brandon has to do is focus his melee in either direction, and that's it.
Yeah. I was really curious why he had his Redemptors where he did. He had his block of dreads really central, just betting on the 5+ invul and getting him through 3 units of Retributors with multi-melters and cherubs and Junith. That's a huge gamble, my man. He has a decent terrain piece. Look to the right of screen, that big blocky ruin. He could have easily hid 2 Redemptors behind there, and maybe a third would get exposed and get auto picked up. But you'd still have 2 Redemptors going into your turn 1. Different game.
Yeah, and it looks like as far as Miracle Dice are concerned, Brandon right now has a 1 and a 3. He's using his gold dice for his Miracle Dice. So he doesn't have anything hot, but he could have had something turn 1 that he used to essentially throttle and kill the Redemptors turn 1.
Little golf clap for Val there, getting us that image, getting us that zoom. I love it. Love your work, mate. What's the leap of faith secondary? Is that the one for using Miracle Dice?
I don't actually know. I think that sounds correct.
It does sound correct, right?
That sounds correct. Yeah.
It's the beauty of the commentary booth. We could say anything.
Is that the secondary? Well, just to refresh me, is that the secondary where you have to sacrifice Miracle Dice in order?
No, you just have to use them. If you use enough Miracle Dice every turn, you just get points.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I cannot remember. I'll look it up right now.
I'm gonna race you.
Oh, this is what we're doing now, huh?
This is it. This is why we're here. This is what the people want. They
It's
want us
become
racing
this.
to find rules.
All down to this.
Secondaries. Where are they?
You're way ahead of me.
Chapter approved rules. I've got it. Leap of Faith. At the end of each turn, if 2 active faiths were performed during that turn by Adeptus units from your army, score 1 victory point if it is your turn, or 2 victory points if your opponent's turn. If 3 or more active faiths were performed during the turn, score 1 additional victory point. Note that active faiths performed due to cherub dice bestowed by incensed cherubs do not count towards this secondary objective.
Okay.
You can score no more than 12 points from this secondary.
So this essentially only works if you have a battery for Miracle Dice.
Which Martyred Lady has one of the best batteries for Miracle Dice.
Of course, because every time a unit dies, they get Miracle Dice.
They get Miracle Dice.
Yes.
So essentially, by throwing all his stuff in the open, dealing this huge, just a big overhand right to take out these 3 Redemptors, and then losing a bunch of his Retributors that also get to shoot back and deal more damage, he's just powering up Brandon's second wave. These Sacrosans, these Zephyrim, all this stuff that he can now just send in to clean up the elements that have been exposed. I mean, should the stuff on the objectives, on the midboard objectives, get picked up next turn, what's he got? 2 Contemptors and 3 units of guys with shotguns, right? Three 5-mans with shotguns.
And Brandon hasn't even committed any of his Artificer Stormbolters from his wow, my brain just went the Dominions. Sorry, he hasn't committed any of the Artificer Stormbolters from Dominions. Which, let's be honest, you just pop the Blessed Bolt strat, and one of those kill teams is basically gone.
So, my God, it's such a silly strat. Like, just sweet merciful nothings. What a silly strat.
Especially with unit there, giving them reroll 1s to hit and wounds.
Exactly right.
One of those units is gone.
Dude, even without the mortals, they're likely to kill the unit of 5 shotgun boys. Like, just without the mortals. Just
2
4
damage
shots each.
Stormbolters.
Yeah, 2 damage Stormbolters with 4 shots each, reeling 1s to hit and wound. You'll kill 5 intercessors or intercessor equivalents. People usually take a combat shield on the Sarge though, yeah. So at least they'll have 1-2 up to try and soak a few, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting though, because essentially the ballpark of what we've been saying here is that Brandon put himself in a position where his opponent is damned if you do, damned if you don't. You either choose to engage, in which case he's getting Miracle Dice and still shooting you back, and he got turn 1 and killed all 3 Redemptors, or you choose not to engage and try and get into combat and then basically give him full reign of the board in order to kill whatever he wants, because he has essentially no answers to any of the Stormbolter units or the Sacrosans, and they can just go in any direction he wants.
Dude, 3 into Sacrosans just seems an indomitable, dominant thing to have in this game now. As soon as the Redemptors are down, these 3 units of Sacrosans can essentially just win you the game. You don't need anything else anymore. It's terrifying to think they're that powerful, and they are.
And it sounds like all 3 Retributor units are dead, but they already did their job. The job is done.
Pchan126, Art of War Down Under, and the Falcon talking about the softness of the California meta. That was not me. That was the Falcon.
How
he throws shade. He throws shade judiciously, like a boy whose sandcastle has been kicked over.
The Falcon is a salty dog, and everyone knows it. Everybody knows it.
And yet, I wish he was here right now. So let's hit a transition. So we are over into the charge phase. Looks like he's charging into the Ruin. Looks like with a couple of bikes into the Ruin to tag what I assume is a unit of 5 Battle Sisters. I see another unit of 5 Battle Sisters in the top left-hand corner. They're going to make a nice little beeline for the top left objective. And essentially, that unit of bikes and Vanguard vets that is into that Rhino, when they get picked up, that unit of Sisters just doesn't have any reason to leave. They're just going to sit there all game, just pick up points. Did he take Vital Intel, Brandon?
He did not.
In hindsight, would have been a good pick. Had he known he was going first and going to kill 3 Redemptors, sure, good pick in hindsight.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stranglehold's a great pick for him. He's just going to get points on a Leap of Faith, and Retrieve Artillery's data is just like a safe 12, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that the Death Watch at this point can stop him from getting Rod. I don't think there's any logical way he can do it. He simply just doesn't have the resources anymore, the table presence.
Exactly right. And I've got to assume that for Brandon, there's quite a few assets in reserve, most notably his 2 units of 2 Crusaders, which right now there isn't the board presence by the Death Watch to stop them walking in wherever they want turn 3 and just rotting quarters.
Yep, I'm assuming the Zephyrim as well, so he can essentially go in any direction.
If you were him, where would the Zephyrim go? I think the bottom right is where I'd put them.
Okay, so...
Actually, sorry, he could just go for his home objective, couldn't he? He could just go right into the back.
He could. Okay, so here's his options. He actually does have a ball of Zephyrim. It's when he chooses to commit to go for the kill teams, because I think once at least 2 of the 3 kill teams are neutered, that's basically it. I think that if he goes down here, that might be in the bottom right. That might be the most optimal choice because then he's got the piece of obscuring cover basically
Yeah,
essentially right
yeah,
above him, and they're totally safe from the contemptors.
exactly right.
So,
Well, I would like to point out one of the contemptors is dead. There's only one left. I think must have been Retributor Fire after they got killed. They shot back, knocked out that other one.
yeah.
So we will piece out from this game, go to table 3, and give you guys an update. As it looks right now, I would not be surprised if we rejoin this game in 10 minutes and it's almost ready to be called. But we will see. Hopefully, the Deathwatch player can do some wraps, traps on those rhinos, stay in combat, not get shot. Would be a beautiful thing.
Okay, so I wanted to point something out with this game, with the Knights versus the Death Guard. The Death Guard seem to be very, very focused on essentially taking the midboard and keeping it. Now, it turns out, against a Knight list with 2 Magiras, that's like absolutely the worst choice.
It is quite bad. And this mission is quite bad as well. Because, I mean, taking the middle usually means you can threaten your opponent's backfield. But the middle, there's nothing in their middle. You have to commit to upper left or bottom right, either way. And if you commit to one of those, you're just ceding the other half of the board to your opponent when you've got movement 5 units. And as we can see, those Blight Lords are in the top left. So their influence is going to stay there the rest of the game. They're literally just trapped and bottled up.
Well, and interesting too is that the Blight Lords, like, they are a good combat option, but not against a Magira Knight. Like, a lot of their strength comes from their bolters being able to become plague weapons and shooting, and they no longer have that option because they're now there forever.
Well, so they are. It's strength +2 on the axes, yeah, the bubonic axes.
Yes.
Or is it strength +1? I think it's strength +2.
It's strength +2 because the swords are +1. So
yeah. So I thought it doesn't reach the threshold because you're going to be the knight's going to be -1 toughness to be toughness 7. You could always +1. You could always do the 2 CP new veterans of the Long War for +1 to wound. So they could do quite a bit in combat.
They are still plague weapons. Again, near Arch Contaminator, they're still rerolling all wounds. But is it enough to get through a Magira before the damage of the Magira just essentially bleeds them all away? I don't think
exactly
so.
Right. And for those following at home, Adam Camilleri, Adam Kama WMPs is words per minute. That's my little one. It's Andrew the Elephant Dickinger because he never forgets. Never forgets. And
I'm
it's
stuck
Adam
with that forever.
Words per minute Camilleri. Exactly right.
So it does appear like the knight in the top left with the Blight Lords has actually been killed.
There you go. See, I would so one of the other things that this Death Guard list brings, it actually brings a really, really respectable mortal wound dump. So between the Plague Skull, the two what are they called? Blight Haulers?
Malignant Plague Casters.
That's the one. The Blightspawn, the Tallyman, and the Volkite Contemptors. It can really expect to do somewhere like 8 to 12 mortals a turn, especially when you're adding.
It looks like the knight exploded.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Everything there is in range.
Oh my lord. Because of course it would blow up on a 4, and of course you would spend that point. If you are a Trisha, you're just like, this is an obvious CP, bang, give us that 4.
It's 2 CP, isn't it, to do the auto explosion on 4s? I think it is.
You might be right. I think it's 2 CP. No, I think it's 2 CP on a Castellan Knight.
Yeah, it blew up.
I think it's only 1 on the Questoris.
You could be correct, but regardless, I mean, it's the easiest CP to spend, especially when you're in a balled up net of a whole bunch of things that don't have feel no pain against mortal wounds. So
spot on. Well, they can turn it on. They're on the Mechanicus side of things. So for 1 CP, they can turn up on a 5+ against mortals, which is one of the great reasons to be on the Mechanicus side.
No. I'm saying the Death Guard has no way to negate the mortal wounds.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you think they would, because it's kind of.
If you take a Plague Surgeon, you have the option, but...
It's true. It's funny, I don't see anybody taking him. It's because he's half as good as a regular Apothecary. I think you might be right. It's a bit sad that they just get worse. He's called Plague Surgeon, and he just doesn't bring anybody back.
Yeah, well, it seems like any other than the Space Marines themselves, no one actually has the ability to resurrect models. I guess Cult of Time technically does.
Yes, Cult of Time. Yeah, yes. I know. Through wizardry. You're a wizard, Harry. Yes. Yeah. So who's commentating with Adam? This is the wonderful and lovely Andrew Dickinger. Tell us a little bit about yourself, brother. This is your first time commentating on a 40k event, so what brings you to the party, and are you enjoying it?
Okay, well, first of all, you may recognize me, or you may not, who knows, from the Roll the Seas or the Wrath and Story podcast. That's where anybody may know me, but I was actually going to play in this event, as I live on the West Coast, and I loved it, and Val roped me in to commentate on this. And,
Rope-a-doped.
and unfortunately, I have to talk with this guy named Adam. I'm pretty sure he's new to
Lame.
this. So.
Lame. Yeah, real new. Fresh. Ooh, I had a bit of a development over on the orc table. We maybe don't need to switch just yet. We see more develop here, but an update from the table boss. Poor old Ben Jarek forgot about Auspex scan. Brought in his commandos to do Rod, got Auspex picked up, and yeah, they might cost him 4 points at the end of this game.
Yeah, that's rough. It looks like, I mean, with the misplay of not deploying the
War
trike, and
yeah.
then now forgetting about Auspex against Space Marines, the day might be wearing at Ben.
Yeah,
I mean, this
for
happens.
Sure.
These tournaments are hard to do a full day
Hmm.
of gaming. So.
Someone just pointed out these tables are low, and he said, "R.I.P. lower back." Can't comment on that. Don't know. Not there. They seem like regular tables to me.
They are regular tables, I can see from my position, but yeah, I mean, when you're essentially standing all day playing hard stratagem in the top seats, like, it can wear on you, and you make mistakes.
For sure. So in the bottom right of this table, it looks like we have, is that the flesh mower sitting on that
Of course
left.
it is.
It
the
looks
key
like
model of the game. Everything relies on this flesh mower.
Well, he's about to get ruffle stomped by a Majera, unfortunately.
How dare you?
I know. How dare that Majera. What did that boy ever do to anybody? He's a cutie.
Yes.
Looks like we've seen an advance from one of the Helverins or the Moiraxes.
I think that's one of the ones with the chain glaives. That looks like
Warglaive.
The Warglaives, yes.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested to know why that Megara is being so tentative almost. Or maybe I don't think she's moved it yet. She's moved it
I don't
now.
think she's moved it yet. Yeah. Because I was thinking, I'm assuming this is the ion bulwark one. The one at the bottom, right?
Yeah. Well, either way, it's kind of the same deal. They're both gonna have 4-up invulns like the entire game, realistically.
But you would think because the axes, the bubonic axes of the Blight Lords are only AP -2, that the Sainted Ion 2+ armor save would probably be the best option.
Yeah, still a 4-up though. Like 4-up either way, mate.
Oh, but he doesn't have to spend CP. Is my point. She doesn't have to spend CP.
Sorry, yeah, you're absolutely correct there. Yeah, absolutely right. With that Majera down the bottom, I wonder what's on the bottom back edge. So there's one plague. Yeah, so that definitely is the
2 BBCs are definitely down here.
Yeah, I was about to say there's one PBC I can't see, but I'm assuming it's in the bottom left. Like, there's nowhere else it would want to be.
It is. It's essentially right there. Right there. It's right below the building.
Can you tell us what that Majera is bearing down on or lining up?
It looks like it has a straight shot down right at the bottom PBC. So
Bubble Hearths. The key to commentating with Adam is to just let him talk and every 5 minutes say yeah. Hey, Andrew is holding his freaking own. Don't you diss my boy like that.
Ow, jeez. Yeah, so it looks like the.
Oh my god, it's a rave. Rave party.
Yeah, because it looks like we actually have a unit sitting right here. It's hard to tell what they are.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what they were myself. That's because that's what I saw Majera was lining up, and now we know there's the Helverin in the top right-hand corner is also going for a bead. I'm gonna have a look quick at the
would that
list.
be the Chaos Contemptors, maybe?
That would be a great spot. Yeah, that is probably definitely what it is, because they're on big bases, aren't they?
They are on big bases, yeah.
Yeah,
well, they should be at least the 60mm bases, which that's what that looks like. So
that's exactly what that looks like, mate.
That's probably the Chaos Contemptors, and then the Megara is aiming right down the left line. I've just got confirmation that is the Contemptors.
Yeah,
and the Megara is going right down the line at the Playbrief Trawler. So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, the sounds like the Megara has nothing but options now. So he needs to pick up. So if he could easily pick up either the 2 Contemptors or the Contemptor and probably the Blighter, and maybe he gets all. Maybe she gets all 3. Apologies, Trisha. Maybe she gets all 3. If she just rolls like a bowler on the autocannons, like if you roll 6 shots for each gun on the autocannons, sure, you could probably pick up one of these Contemptors. Because hitting on 3s, winning on 4s, down to 2 damage apiece. Yeah, you could get it.
It's close. It's close.
It is close. Yeah.
But essentially, I think the Contemptors are really just like the best of options, because the Contemptors I don't think are much of a threat to her army at this point.
That's correct.
I think they maybe threaten the Armigers, but not really the Megara. So
Did you see what they're modeled off? Those Contemptors. We just had a little switch. Can we get switched back to that camera view, because it looked like the Ogroid Thermitages. Yeah, she's converted the Ogroids from
Yes.
Is it
Orgroid
Silver
head?
Tower?
It looks like an
Yeah, yeah.
Orgroid head plus a Sons of Bahamut body.
Yeah, it
One
looks
of the giant
phenomenal.
bodies.
Looks
Yes.
really cool, really cool. Wonderful modeling there. But that's by Mr. Justin Marcus. Well done, mate. Stuff's looking great. Actually, every army we've had on so far has been like a specimen, has been a work of art. Really happy with the hobby level.
Absolutely. So here's a question for you. Now that the Blightlord Terminators have dealt with the problem with the Magira in the top left, what do they do at this point? Do you think they just stay?
I think they spread out across those two objectives and they stay. Yeah, they don't have the time. I mean, there is an issue here in that Trisha has given them a leapfrog. They walk up, they charge that Warglaive, wrap around it, slingshot past, and then next turn they could be threatening her back line. They could be going straight past that Helverin with the charge move. Realistically, though, you're giving up like two objectives to try and get one. So it could just be better to stay where you are.
Yeah. Well, I see that there's one unit of Poxwalkers down here. I'm wondering if there's any Poxwalkers in the building in the top left. Because
Yeah, well,
if they're there, because they
actually-
can hold.
Dude, great spot. Just behind that ruin, just to the left of that ruin, you can see a couple of bases just hanging out. You might be exactly right on. And if that's the case, absolutely, those Blightlords get aggressive.
Yes, because then at that point, I think these are characters. I think that the Poxwalkers are actually here because when the knight exploded, I saw him remove some Poxwalkers from
With
there.
models. Yep.
So then I think he can just play aggressive with the Blightlords.
Exactly right. People saying in chat, yep, authentic Volkite Contemptor guns have been out of stock on Forge World Worldwide for ages. So yeah, exactly right. You got to make do with what you can, guys. Get in where you might. And there's the stock, the Volkite stock is in free fall at the moment, I think. So this might be the last couple of majors we see where there are big presence.
Yes,
I expect
agree.
people to just fall out of love with them. They do nothing versus orcs. They do well. They don't do much versus sisters, as we saw against Brandon at his particular build, and they do literally nothing versus Grey Knights.
Yeah, and then we're seeing more and more. A lot of the Space Marines, including Custodies, are going towards Dread focus lists, which they do nothing against. So
spot on. So like 3 of the other A tier lists, they just don't scratch the sides on. They're actually still quite good into the 2 S tier lists though, but they're not so good that you're able to beat them. So what's the big deal?
Yeah, it was more of a forced decision against the top 2 armies right now, and less of a optimal decision against the rest of the field. So,
yeah, we're going to hit a transition, guys. We'll hit back to table 1 and see what the impact of that second orc shooting phase has been. What's your prediction? How many more tournaments is he going to get down this turn? Because so far he's netted one. There's one less termy than there was last time because he's res 1, obviously.
Okay, so obviously...
Did he outflank some scrap jets? How the hell did they get over there?
I'm assuming he outflanked
That's
him, yeah.
Baller. Love it.
Now, the question is, because I think he may not have outflanked them. He may have actually deep struck them with Teleporter, because I think it's the same CP cost, and why not deep strike them instead?
And you get him where you want. And I do love the positioning right there, because the Terminators have to walk off an objective to come get them? They're not going to do that.
No. Not at all. So yeah, I'm wondering, it looks like this Terminator unit in the bottom right has taken the most casualties.
It does, yeah.
This one looks like it's down to 8 models.
Both the ones you pointed out are down to 8 models.
Yeah.
It's actually a good pick if you're going to do that, because you can only res 1 from one unit. So to pinch hitting on 2 at the same time isn't a bad thing. And of course, you've got compromised lanes of fire, because the Deathwing player is being quite good at controlling what can and can't be shot. Like, so the bottom right one can be shot without the -1 to hit, but he's got a bunch of dudes in cover. The one in the middle can be shot, but it's a -1 to hit. As for the one in his home objective.
Yeah, now the question is right now, I don't see the WASBomb. Was the WASBomb destroyed, or was it forced to fly off the table?
Yeah, I find it really hard to determine which one's which, especially when they're all yellow.
I see the gun.
I don't know. I don't think that is. They all look like Dakka jets to me.
I think they all look like Dakka jets. I think
but that one has a different front end. Yeah, the fuselage at the front of that one, that could be the WASBomb, the closest one to the camera.
I see 4 super shooters here, 4 super shooters here, 4 super shooters here.
Yeah,
so
I think did he pay for the extras or the extra super shooters?
On the Dakka jets, yes.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all Dakka jets. Yeah.
All Dakkas.
So was the WASBomb destroyed, or is it simply off the table?
Well, it was on the table last turn, so and if it was on the table last turn, 100% that you knock that guy out. Like nothing else in this game is going to kill make you pick up more than 1 or 2 Terminators a turn. That thing can kill 3 or 4 a turn. Great call. Production Booth just told us the Wazbomb was public enemy number 1 and just cycloned to death.
Yes, I mean that is definitely the optimal choice. I would say honestly, secondary to that, I mean he couldn't actually target the scrapjets because they were off the table.
Exactly
I think
right.
the mech guns are actually the second biggest threat.
Yeah, the problem is though they're just an awkward amount of wounds per gun, isn't it? You can just a Cyclones can just under or overkill so many mech guns. Although he does have a squadron of 2, so that might be where he wants to put his fire.
Slightly more optimal, yes, but then essentially this becomes a situation of where does his Tiger priority go? Because
exactly right.
There are buggies everywhere, and the Rucker Truck Swigga buggies aren't the most optimal choice against these Terminators, but when they pop AP3, like they're going to chunk through them eventually.
Exactly right. Have we seen that War Trike come on? Is that the model right at the dead center bottom of the screen?
It looks like the War Trike is in the yes. There's the War Trike there. It's definitely in the bottom center right at this point. That's the War Trike. So it is back on the table.
This is the turn. This is the turn to see if he's going to get enough damage done to actually get through a meaningful amount of this army. Because if he doesn't do anything now, well, it's turn 3. The game might just get away from you. But on top of that, the one thing you really don't like about Deathwing, this Deathwing archetype, and the reason I kind of dropped it, your score is so plottable. Like I could sit down if I was the opponent here, and I can just be like, okay, 40 on primary, pretty likely. I'm going to get a minimum of 10 Oath at the moment, so it's a 50, 60 points with the plus 10. Data Intercept, if it sits 3 objectives every turn, is a nice, comfortable 15. And bring it down, it's probably going to net another 9 to 12. So what's that? 10, 15, 25, another 12, 37. So 77, 87 points is roundabouts what he's on par to get. And so you just need to work out how you mess with that. You just need to mess with that by 5 or 10 points, and you win the game by 5 or 10 points.
Yeah, I think at this point, I miscalculated a bit. I think Ben's only real plan is to prevent as much of Joel's secondaries as he can, because the one thing I misconsidered in my calculations with regards to the damage that he could deal, other than the force that you pointed out awesomely, misconsidered. Thank you. Is that transhuman? Permanent transhuman really scales back a lot of the freebooters damage potential.
Especially the scrapjets, man. All that strength 8 stuff doesn't mean anything. We're going to jump back to the studio for some reason, according to Val, just so you can see our lovely faces. Get a refresh. Val has been waiting to use this scene.
Yeah, we all know who's the most handsome here, though. I mean.
Yeah. Ta-da! But yeah, Val has been waiting to use that backdrop, that setting, for so long. I'm just really happy he gets to use it. He gets quite giddy about stuff like that.
How can you not like all of this?
It's beautiful. Can we do a high five? Can we try a high five? Your right, my left. Yeah.
Oh God, I'm so bad at this.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I'm very confused. I'm sorry.
Huge fail. Lehman Russ, take him out.
Oh man,
take him out. Hammer of Sunderance.
Okay, so it turns out we found out that only 5 Terminators have died.
Total or that turn?
Total.
And you got to assume this is speed-wise. So he's only killed 4. Like you pointed out, man, he killed 2 from each of those blocks. That is a big old yikesy doodle.
I don't think there's any way that he can possibly. Some rolls have to go his favor. It looks like on this table, though, he's gotten all of his sisters out of the Rhino, so this is the turn. He's throttling in.
Commit. He's got no reason to not commit.
That's a beautiful back right there.
Dude, he is on board to get 100 points. He's just done an auto charge with what I assume is his Zephyrim into that back Contemptor, arriving from Deep Strike right in the middle of the table. Either that or it's a unit of Sacrosanct. I can't quite get a beat on them.
These look like Sacrosanct there.
Yeah, they do now.
I don't see wings, so it looks like Sacrosanct there. Sacrosanct there. So
the Zephyrim came in right in the central bottom. If you see, right under where Brendan Grant's army is right now. I believe that's a Zephyrim. He'll move his arm in a second, or he'll just keep it there forever because he's a robot.
You're saying below Junith there?
Below Junith, yeah. That other blob.
So he's using them as like a secondary source. Maybe he didn't have hot enough Miracle Dice to really guarantee their charge. Yes, that is the Zephyr right there.
Yeah, for sure.
That is them there, for sure. So yeah, looks like he's just throttling the Sacrosanct,
it's crazy to say, but this is a turn 2 mop-up. He's got turn 1, smacked him, knocked all his teeth out. Turn 2, just mopping up what's left, and the game's done.
I see why the Zephyrim did exactly what we predicted. They came down in the bottom right corner because they're just going to kill the kill team that's on the bottom right objective and be
exactly
safe.
right. Exactly right. And he's staying on the right side of the terrain to do it as well.
Yes.
So at sometimes though, if you don't have the miracle dice to order that charge, you bring them down and you rod, wait to see what your shooting phase does, and then see if you need to try and roll the 9.
Absolutely.
Because if you kill them down to like 1 or 2 guys left, or you kill everything else, you're just like, well, I'm just not charging. I'll just take the rod points.
And I mean, even with an interrupt, I honestly see the Sacrosancts cleaning up all 3 of these units. They're so good in combat.
Yes. What are they? They're 3 attacks each base?
They're 3 attacks each, and I think he took the +1 attack. Or yes.
And they're strength 6, strength 7 when they're bloody rose. With strength 6 -3, 1 damage. They are killers. They are Space Marine killers, guys.
Strength 6 power swords, and then a 2 damage strength 6 or strength 7 spear on the sergeant, or the what are they called?
Laser lance. It's a laser lance.
Yes, on the I can't remember what the superior. So the superior will likely have a super dice.
We've had Greedy Hammer in the chat. How can the Dark Angels kill those Dakar jets? Because they've got each squad has 2 2 Cyclone missile launchers and a bunch of Storm Bolters in each one. So Storm Bolters in Tactical Doctrine actually aren't that bad with the rerolls. Actually aren't that bad into planes.
Well, you got to remember that a plane only has a default 4+ save.
Exactly. It's toughness 6 with a 4+ save. It's a bunch of wounds, but you can just knock him out of the sky. And the Cyclones are good into him as well because they get around Ramshackle being strength 8. So he can knock down like a flyer, possibly a flyer and a half or a flyer and 2 if he really just bosses those 5s and 6s on the damage rolls.
Absolutely. I mean, like eventually there's just enough volume that he will get through, and he at any time he can pop like Fury of the First or something to ignore the -1s. So I
just really worry about the 2 little faux pas Ben made. I mean, obviously his score is going to be 4 points lighter because of the loss of a rod. Is there just like 3 or 4 more Terminators on the board right now? Could he be very close to wiping one of his 10-mans had he had Speedwire turn 1 rather than having it now?
Okay. So I think that you hit the nail on the head, which was the Forest may have had an impact, but even with the Speedwog, not being able to throttle freebooters is a serious problem.
Exactly right. It's actually a good matchup into freebooters the more I think about it. Well, as long as with the controller terrain, he's got 20 Terminators and 6 Blade Guard and all his characters all sitting in forests. That must feel good, right? That must feel so good.
20 Terminators? You mean 30 Terminators?
No, 10 of them aren't in the forest.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously the ones that aren't in a forest are just going to get the -1 damage.
Well, they're too far away, though, because they're the ones in the bottom right, and they're down to 5 dudes left from what I can see, unless there's some actually in the building.
Oh, yes, in the bottom right here, yes. But, like, that's, like, the most that he's had to throttle a unit is down into that bottom right, and they're still alive.
They're still exactly right. That would have been every single scrapjet would have gone into them from that unit of 3. Looks like they made a charge as well into that unit.
They're probably ramming. They're ramming speeding is my guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Try and get enough mortal wounds. Yeah.
Well, they're down to 5 guys. He's going to charge in with 1 scrapjet from the front, 3 from the back. And he's going to just try and wear that unit down. He's got it down to 5 guys. Picking up 2 Cyclones right now would actually be a big deal.
Yeah, well, and as for those watching, and as far as you don't know, so what he used likely was a stratagem which is called ramming speed, which gives the entire unit of scrapjets a 3d6 charge. You don't discard any of the dice, and then on a 2+, it deals D3 mortal wounds. And then as long as the scrapjets are engaged in combat when they charge, on a 4+, each of them does an additional D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, so realistically, he could kill 2 or 3 Terminators just from the mortals.
Yes, exactly. So like that might be enough. That with that and the combats, they're doing D3 damage each. So possibly he could get through that entire Terminator unit. That might be enough to get him ahead.
Yeah, is that his beast boss sitting next to that wall? By the way, on the left-hand side of that wall?
Ooh, this down here. That looks like his beast boss.
It does, doesn't it? Looks like he hasn't gone for the charge yet, but you do those mortals as soon as you make the charge, yeah? With the ramming speed?
Oh, absolutely, yes. As soon as the charge is complete. So maybe he should have charged with that first, with the Beast Boss first, because the Dark Angels player could make the charge longer.
Exactly right. Looks like one of the Terminators has been picked up there. That is interesting. He took off one of the Cyclones rather than taking off one of the other lads, that's pretty. Look at that model.
Yes.
That's sick. That is sick. He's got it's got a pair of legs with a mouth. That's
So we're
literally
gonna
what a squig is.
We're going to see on this table, or stay on this table and see how this combat goes. But I've just been told that there's only 7 models left in the Death Watch against Brandon Grant's sisters.
Look, we can almost not go back to that. Brandon's going to end on like 95 plus points, and that game is pretty much ready to be called.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to. I would love to know what would happen in that game if he did hide at least 2 of those Redemptors, but it's not what happened.
Okay, so here's my prediction: is it still would go badly because what does he do? I mean, he gets 1 turn of his AP -2 Onslaught Gatling cannons from them into units that have a 1+ or a 0+ save.
Yep.
I don't think it's enough.
Did he have all onslaughts? He didn't have the macroplasmas.
He had all onslaughts. I thought I looked on the list. Unless it was just the underslung was onslaught.
Nah, you're right. Heavy onslaughts. He's here to kill Skitari, and he's against 1-up armor save sisters. Yeah, not the right meta call.
It looks like plasma,
matchup, at least.
but the list is a heavy onslaught Gatling cannons.
Yeah,
so,
it is. Yeah, it's all onslaught. He's literally here to kill. He's literally here to kill buggies and Skitari. And he just didn't face him.
That's actually that's worst case scenario against our martyred lady with Judith Arawita.
Exactly right. It's actually could not be a worse matchup for the poor bloke. Maybe that's why he just went out in the open. He's like, well, I'm pretty much screwed if I don't go first. So, guns out. Let's just go in the open and make sure I get to shoot every single damn gun I've got at least once.
As we're seeing here in the bottom left, he's throttled everything. The war bikers have come in. The beast boss has come in. These guys are now out of combat.
Beautiful placement by the Warbikers. Check that out, creating a wall between them and the other unit. 3 Warbikers is actually hard for them to shoot through. He can still do it, just gets a couple of hits. But what are you going to do? You're going to shoot the Cyclones into the Warbikes and not into the planes, into the buggies, into the scrapjets, into the mech guns. Like some hard decisions to be made in the next turn.
They also have a beautifully weird number of wounds because the knob has 4 wounds.
4 wounds. I know, it's actually quite cool. But yeah, so that's actually a beautiful point. Looks like there's only 1 Terminator left from that squad when it's all said and done.
It looks like the Scrapjets actually, with their mortal wounds, managed to kill 3 of the Terminators just from charging.
That's yikes. I mean, I said they could kill up to 3. I didn't really think they were going to kill 3.
It's all Adam's fault. He did it. It's his fault, everyone.
I'm sorry, Joel. My Dark Angel's brother. I've put a curse on me.
Within that combat, as long as that Squig Boss gets to fight, I think he'll clean up the rest of them. I don't think there's any real, especially if he's as we call it, a competitive edge Squig Boss. I don't know if there's any way.
I think he is the full smashy one. I've got to say, guys, if you're playing freebooters, this guy brings so much to the table for you. He's so good. Arda's Nails, Beast Hide Mantle, Big Boss with extra gubbins.
So he's going he's going Arda's Nails. So he's going the unkillable route.
Bubblehurst, boo this man, boo. Yeah, you can boo me. I put a hex on my boy.
More booze, all booze in chat. Thumbs down.
Greedy Hammer, is the terrain on the tables randomly generated by the players, or do the staff build them ahead of time? It's player placed terrain, guys. So if you'll pay attention, I think the player placed terrain was very well wielded by the Dark Angels player to ensure he had -1 coverage on 2 of his essentially home objectives. I think it's a stroke of genius, really, by Joel.
Okay, so diving into this, so all 3 tables actually have different sets of terrain, but essentially how it functions is at the beginning of the game, both players know what side they're on, and the terrain is divided into corners. So you're allowed to only place a certain amount of terrain in each table corner
to stop you from stacking. Yeah,
exactly. Now, the real tech of this, as they say, the real trick is that you can place terrain in any of the corners when you alternate, which means that you can try to put terrain in your opponent's corner that's not going to be advantageous.
Exactly right. You can try and put suboptimal options into their corners. Now, what I really love about this, it looks like the first choice for the Orc player was to take the L, put the L into their deployment zone. The first choice by the Dark Angels player was to take a forest.
So, and the clear second choice, forest.
Dude, spot on. They both took forest. It looks like they both took forest second choice. Actually, second choice might have been the huge box. What we would have called a magic box. In last mission. That could have
Yes.
been the second choice, optionally.
Honestly, I would not be surprised if Orcs got first choice and it was this L, and then
Yep.
Dark Angels got this choice, and then Orcs was
Just-
like, crap, Forest, and tried to grab this, and
Yeah,
then Dark
tried
Angels
to
was
grab
like,
this one.
ha ha ha.
Double Forest, sucks to be you. But dude, this actually, like, as a Dark Angels player, this actually makes me a little bit more likely to want to take a 10-man Terminator brick again, because I've been well and truly off them. But seeing how good they are in this matchup, like sitting in a forest on player plays terrain, Stub and Defiance just seems super attractive. Like, it would have been an auto 15
Okay.
here. In
I
the
think-
forest with -1 damage, it would have been a 15.
I think that's where I was disagreeing with you, is that I didn't take full into account that the Dark Angels player didn't have the little 2-man veteran Terminator units, which was
To proc,
so
+1
staple.
to hit. Mm.
Yeah, it was so staple. So not only could this table's fine. So not only did the Dark Angels player have none of the throwaway units to proc freebooters, but then beautifully took both of the biggest forests.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm spinning. I think that the freebooters has a huge uphill battle against.
See, I think the freebooters are still going to win. I think they're still going to win
think
because that hit that turn, killing a 10-man down to one guy left, and the fact that I don't think he has enough damage to stop him from being able to do the same thing next turn. That's where I think it gets a bit scary.
So you think that he simply won't be able to last all 5 turns?
Well, so the only mistake I think he may have made is he's not using his Blade Guard. His Blade Guard are sitting at the back of the board. They've been now insulated, so they have to somehow get through all the Dagger Jets, which they can't move past, and they've got a whole brick of 10 guys in front of them. If they were right next to where this second unit, and in support of where the attack always had to come, into the bottom right-hand quadrant, because there's 2 objectives there to fight over, if the Blade Guard were there in support of the other 2 Terminator bricks, I'd be right with you. I'd be like, hey, he's going to take these objectives back, and then I don't know if the Orcs have enough left to take them back again. But as it sits right now, I think he's got enough power down here to deny him a turn of 10 primary and give himself 15, and I think that'll be the tail of the game.
Okay, interesting synopsis here. Considering the success, or lack of success, from the turn 1 freebooters against this, should he have just throttled and gone towards his opponent?
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. Should he have just advanced straight out of the gate, gone straight at him? That's a good pick. If he didn't pick Stubborn Defiance, that would have been an assumption of mine. And my other assumption was that if he took Oath, those Blade Guard would be the thing to go into the middle, and that anything that goes into the Blade Guard cops a brick of Termies to the teeth.
Oh, of course. Yeah, have them just sit there, or if as close as possible to the forest to proc the saves. I mean,
yeah.
100%.
You're right, though, but maybe this is a tempo game. Maybe Mr. Joe Wilson has the tempo of this game down, and he's only now just starting to break out. Because as you can see, he's putting his 10-man. His 10-man has moved and advanced, and they've gone from one forest straight into the next forest, which means that other unit, that other 10-man, which unfortunately wasn't able to move out of the forest, is going to be taking a -2 charge. I really hope he makes it, which means it's going to be awkward what he gets to declare. So I'm assuming he'll only declare the bikers and maybe the blue scrapjet in the bottom right. And he'll pick those up and chain that charge into the bottom right-hand quadrant to maintain that 10 on primary into the next turn.
Well, because remember, all he has to do to shut down the scrapjets down here is just tag them.
Yeah, exactly.
They have
exactly
no option to fight well or get out of combat and shoot. So all he has to do is tag them, and they're there forever.
Exactly right.
But I'm wondering if he gets into the lines over there, just that he essentially, the Orcs will never be able to dig him out once he gets onto that side.
Yeah. I mean, if he had a Terminator brick in the Orcs backline right now, it's just going to do whatever it wants, right? He just can't turn around the resource to go and account for it. To the left-hand scrapjet, the blue one, this turn, the game could be over. Because that 10-man could string 10 OBSEC Termies across the top 2 left objectives while he continues to squabble over the bottom right 2. The game's over. He'd kill the Orc primary whilst getting 15s himself. That's why I always advocate a chappy. Chappy. I actually cannot hear you, Andrew.
Yeah, sorry about that. We were just
No stress.
clarifying. Yes, because just in case anybody missed it within the stream, the to the last for the Orcs player has to be the Ruckatrux here because the Squigasar points is too low.
It's too low, yeah. So it's the 3 scrapjets, it's the Wazbomb, which is already dead, and the unit of 2 Dagger Jets. So he's already lost 5 on that. He's already lost 5 onto the last.
There goes to another part of my point. If he gets into this line and manages to get to the other to the last target with the Squig Buggies, that could be lights out.
That's a play, man. That's a thing. Absolute thing. Interesting where he's moves to. I want to know. So it looks like he has the Ravenwing um, apothecary. Looks a little exposed. He's at the back of the unit, but of course the Daka Jets won't be able to. They don't have
No,
any double turns or
they,
anything.
they
They
have
won't be
to.
able to
Yeah,
stay
they
there.
have to get off the board.
Either that
Essentially,
or they go. Well, I
or
actually think they're all
left.
going to go to the left. They're all just going to go to the left, just a minimum
Thinking they
move
go that
to the
way?
left. Yeah, he needs to keep the shooting on the table. He can't have it off next turn. Assuming that I think he's in his second turn of Speed War. He needs him on the table still.
Yes, because if he throttled, yes, that is true. If he throttled Speedwad, this is like his only chance to get their best effectiveness out. But
Yeah, spot on.
my wonder is that will he have enough room after he moves that direction to essentially then pivot and go back this way to keep them in the
Yeah.
game?
Yeah. And look, maybe so. Realistically, I think definitely the furthest one up will have enough room. The other two, I'm not too sure. I'm not actually certain what the measurements will be there. But 20 inches, yeah, it puts him around the other side of that blue scrapjet, around about that area. And then if he went straight down from there, he might just be in his own way with all the units he's got governing the bottom left hand quadrant.
It's going to be close, but I think he might still have enough room.
Yeah, we'll hit a transition over to the Knights. The Trisha versus sorry, what's the gentleman's name? Trisha versus Justin Marcus.
Yeah, table 3, please.
But yeah, this game, I'm really happy with that game, brother. That's the top table game is looking like a top table game, and I love it.
It's going to be close. It's going to be a lot closer than I think it's going to be. So that's great.
What are we seeing on the? Give us a rundown of the scoreboard as it sits right now in this turn 3.
So far, it looks like Justin is on the lead in the primary. It also looks like he's on the lead in the secondary, but to the last is deceiving. So, but Trisha is definitely holding her own. A lot of hers are progressive objectives in secondaries, but she's already lost one of her to the last with Magira.
Yeah.
I don't know if this Magira is ever really going to be challenged.
Nah, well, I think I can only see one Volkite Contemptor now, and of course the Blight Drone is definitely dead. That's a Volkite Contemptor in like see where the forest is in the middle
right
left?
about there.
Yeah.
That's a Volkite
Yeah.
Contemptor. Also, both you may not be able to see, but both Plague Burst Crawlers are there, and they do have a line on the Magira. But
Ooh, saucy.
with a 4+ invulnerable save, it's very swingy. So, and I think the Magira can just go this way, and then it's no longer threatened.
So what I thought was going to happen has happened, but with the different squad. So in front of those Blight Lords was actually a unit of 3
Death
Shroud, and they're what's
Ooh.
being slung into the backline. I like that a lot more than doing it with the Blight Lords. Keep the Blight Lords, half of them inside the ruin in cover, the other half straddling those 2 objectives, just shooting out bolters, whatnot, everywhere, and just start slinging in your toughness 5, -1 to wound, baller scythe boys into the backline. I love Death Shroud, by the way. I think they're amazing.
Oh, they're incredible. And as you hit the nail on the head with regards to the Blight Lords here, because essentially, as long as he has any CP, and he has 7, he's sitting on 7 right now, he can at any time make them plague weapons with the Arch Contaminator guy right there, and that will go through those knights eventually.
I want to say this is tilting a little bit in the Death Guard's favor, I believe. Maybe that Magira that went down didn't need to go down like that. Maybe getting a couple more turns of shooting out of it before the commitment would have been more ideal. But that, of course, would have let that instead of letting Justin get ahead on the secondaries, he would have got ahead on the primaries in exchange, because of course the Magiras wouldn't have been catering him off objectives. Where I see this as being interesting right now, I think if I was Justin, I think I'd leave the Magira alone and I'd try and pick up both of these Helverins. But of course we're already in the charge phase, so the Majori's still alive, that Helverin's still alive, or the Moirax, whatever it is in the middle. And those Death Shroud did just pick up that Warglaive, and they're pivoting right into the backlines.
Yeah, so we have one, sorry, wrong tool there. We have one Plague Burst Crawler down here that the first one is behind it. He clearly can only see the Magira, whereas the second one has a line of sight to the Magira or the Helverin that's right here. So might have tried to see how much damage he could have done to the Magira, decided it wasn't worth the effort, and sent the second one after that Helverin.
We got any wound dice on that Magira? What do you think the damage has done so far?
I only see a single wound dice, so probably minimal damage. I mean, really. Okay, so it looks like.
Maximize. 22. Is that 22 left?
Yes, it's 22 wounds remaining on the Magira, so almost no damage.
Almost no damage. Yeah, he's going to get a wound back at the start of next turn anyway for being a Mechanicus Knight. Now, I want to point out there that the Trisha started with 5 Baby Knights, 1 Helverin, 2 Warglaives, 2 Moiraxes. I only see 2 left, so that's 3 gone down in addition to one of her Magiras. So she's taken a fair beating And I would like to say that's unexpected for me, because I thought the only ranged weapons that would give her much grief would be the 2 PBCs, and there's only 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm wondering what actually killed the Moiraxes, because it didn't look like they were committed very far up that early.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
maybe the PBCs rolled hot and managed to take out the Moiraxes. Yeah,
Exactly. Maybe they just totally popped off. I would really love to see all the baby knights get them 1 more wound. Going from 12 to 13 wounds is such a big deal in a D3 plus 3 damage meta. Go to 13. I want to see everyone go to an odd number of wounds.
I honestly could also see them dropping down to like 130 points or so. I think they're a little too expensive right now.
I mean, the Warglaves are 130, 135, I believe, and I think they're about right. But then the Warglaive is around the 150 mark, same as the Moirax. Actually, I'll double check that just so I'm not speaking out of turn.
You may be correct. They may actually have
150. Yeah, 135 for the Warglaves, 155 for the Helverin and the Moiraxes.
Yeah, so I could see the Moiraxes and the Hellglaive dropping down to the same cost. I think they're a little overcosted right now.
So it's the Helverin's really awkward. So there's some games where the strength 7 damage 3 is phenomenal. It's so strong, and there's some games that the fact that it has only rend 1 means it just doesn't do anything all game. It's just bounces.
Well, it's ironic because I think that it actually throttled amazingly well against Drukhari and Eldari.
Yes,
and now
it did.
Bad against everything else.
Yeah, exactly right. It's bad into Orcs because they actually get a 5 up and it's only 2 damage, but it's still respectable into Orcs, horrible into Grey Knights, horrible into T-Suns. Like, it's just, really kind of awkward for it.
Yeah, I think
we need like demons back for it to feel truly like premium shine again.
Yeah, or Eldari to get their update in for nothing but jet bikes to be a thing.
Nothing but jet bikes. New meta. Oh, but loves Harlequins. Helverins loves Harlequins.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that likely the Moiraxes are better in most respects. The only real advantage that the Helverin has over the Moiraxes is just range.
Sheer range, yeah.
There's 60-inch range, I believe, so you could just shoot from anywhere.
Trish has done it right. The Helverin is a one-of. It sits on your back objective, it zones out a bit of the backboard from deep strikes and rods, and it just lays fire where it can. And for that purpose, it probably does just fine. It's also really, surprisingly, it's extremely good into flyers because it's got a 1 CP strat to reroll to hit against flyers. Yes. So it can just knock a Waz bomb out of the game turn 1.
Yeah, you'd have to roll a little bit hot. But
yeah, it's true.
I mean, the fact that the planes also have ramshackles, strength 7 is maybe the Helverin should go up to strength 8.
And dude, the 12 wounds on those damn flyers. That means you got to get 6 freaking wounds through, and they're gonna have a 5-up invuln. So it's just yikes.
No, I'm interested to see because, like, with regards to the Moirax that's here, like, I think that's kind of the linchpin to deciding how the rest of this game goes.
Oh, the Megara. Yeah, how long the Megara... If the Megara stays alive... Yeah, no, dude, I totally knew what you meant. Yeah, the Megara is really what's going to decide this game. If the Megara gets the value that it can get, this is still very much Trish's to win. I mean, next turn, that Megara can just kill 2 things and charge another, kill 3 things. At any point, that's what I love the power of a knight. At any point, it's just like, okay, cool, I'm gonna win the game now. Bang, game's over.
Yeah, I mean the fact that it has both the speed, the range, and the fact that it's got combat and range potential, it can essentially engage three targets simultaneously.
Yeah, yep.
So they can decide games.
It's got 3 good weapons, man. That lightning cannon is savage. The flamer into the right profiles. What did I say about demons? You just walk up to a keeper of secrets and 2d6 the wound on 2, damage 3 flamer, and you're just like, see you, mate. Get off the table.
It's amazing.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
And it's actually quite good against Death Guard, even though they're reducing it down to 2 with all these Terminators. It's still 2 wounds. It's 2 wounds to get through to kill a Terminator. Now, granted, the Flamer is AP 0, so
yeah, exactly
it's not going to get through the Terminators that quickly, but the Lightning Cannon is not. So
looks like we had a little bit of a take backseat here. Looks like Trish has reconsidered one of her moves. She was pushing up what I believe to be her last Warglaive to get right up in on that. Well, I thought she was going to go for a long charge from that Warglaive onto the PBCs and try and tag one. Either that or she was going to try and leapfrog off 1 or 2 of these characters. I would have loved to see that Warglaive tag that Contemptor and kill the character on that objective, and then just be really threatening. Like, you can't shoot the Megara, you have to shoot me. Otherwise, I'm just going to go straight into your PBCs.
I think the only problem is if she tries to go for this objective, there are still...
there's too much OBSEC to take it off.
There's too much OBSEC there.
But you just need to shut down the shooting. Because like I said, if the Megara makes it like another 2 turns on the table, you probably just win, right?
See, I don't know. At this point, I might have to disagree because she essentially, I think, committed the first Magira too early up here. I think that at this point, the Death Guard player can essentially just sit on objectives and still win.
Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. I mean, the fact that she lost 5 on 2 to the last already means that already, like, Justin is up by the fact that he has at least 2 to the last left. Like, run the PBCs away, keep the Blight Lords exactly where they are. We're seeing a cheeky Rod come in. Cheeky Rod and another couple of engagements come in. You see a unit of Skitarii coming in right on the left-hand screen. The other unit of Skitarii is all the way on the right-hand side. Essentially, they're like they're level with each other on the exact opposite sides of the screen. That's pretty funny.
No, okay,
Yeah.
so this is interesting. It clearly, she's bringing in the left-hand unit to get some Rod. The right-hand unit maybe Rod, and also to take the objective position of the Magira, so the Magira can play more inventions.
Exactly right. Well, what you want them to get into the Ruin one, the one where the Warglaive is. And I think that's probably what she intended last turn. That's why she moved it off and moved it back. And so maybe she hasn't moved those yet, because I haven't, unless they ran down from the top right-hand side, kind of around where the Helven was. You want them to run into there, get on that objective, sit in the cover, and just be forgotten.
So our boys behind the screens have given us an update. The problem right here is that she was planning to straddle both objectives with the Magira, but the Magira can actually not score both. You have to choose which one you're controlling.
You can contest both. You can't score both. You have to choose which one you actually own.
Yeah, so clearly the Skitarii on the right side are coming down to take the Magira's place. She still has some turns to do so, and at that point the Magira can play more offensively. Now, I will say, last thing, if she does get the units here down on the bottom objectives, this is when I would love to see the Helverin just go for a Hail Mary for the Playburst Scholars.
Absolutely right. Well, I think that Mojera goes in this turn now. With 22 wounds left, just chuck it in. It's got to go.
Well, she does have 2 CP, so she can advance and charge.
Full tilt. I would full tilt in. Well, it has Iron Bulwark, so you don't need the CP to give it the 4+. And so what you want to do, so right now, the left hand is controlled by the Death Guard. The right hand is completely controlled by the Knights in the Admech. But we have Death Shroud making ingress into the right side, and so you want to match that with the Megara making ingress into the left side. And that Scorpius needs to move. And just have like 1 mil of the chassis on that objective.
Just like this, like either this little bit here.
Yeah, get the hell out of there. That's almost an auto charge from where those Death Shroud are.
Yeah, or a little bit down there.
Well, that's the thing, if the Death Shroud make it to that Scorpius, you're home. They're done. You can't take it back. What are you going to do? Turn around the Megara to go get it back? You can't. Can't afford to do it. So as soon as they get there, it's over for her.
Oh, and they will go through a Scorpius. Like, it won't last. They have the power to go through a Scorpius.
Also, well pointed out in the chat, this is the mission where you hold objectives until your opponents take them off you. So in reality, now
she could just leave.
Yeah, exactly. Now that the Skitarii have left, are on the table, all the Skitarii on the table, those Blight Lords can leave as well. There's nothing that's going to get over there and take those objectives. They can get on their horse.
Oh, okay. So here's an interesting thing then with regards to the units down here holding this objective. If the Magira decides to go this way, and the Helverin decides to go this way, and she sticks some Skitarii back here, he could lose that back objective.
It's true. Except that I think all the Skitarii have hit the board now. She only has 2 squads, and I can see them both on the right-hand side.
Oh, I didn't see this unit here. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I meant. Now that they're both on the table, the Blight Lords, the PBCs, everything can just run away, conserve the 2 last points, don't need to be on the objectives and exposed. Just harass her backfield and probably take a small win at that point. Or you continue to play if you feel like you need the big win. But still, like I said, that Megara can just decide, I'm Trisha McDade, I'm a baller, and this Megara is going to win the game. Off we go.
Now, here's an interesting question. With the Skitarii now here on the right side, her controlling those 2 objectives on her side, no real way that the Death Guard can take it back. Does she just decide then to take the Magira and just go straight for Terminators?
Go straight for Terminators. That's the thing, yeah. If she was to take either of the top left-hand objectives, she wins the primary. She just wins the primary. And the only real difference I see on the secondaries right now is that Justin's going to end with a minimum of 5 points more onto the last. So taking away the Blight Lords, and by default then taking away one of the primary score, that's just doubling down on a way to win the game.
Well, and the Blight Lords are one of his to the last
exactly
units.
Right. That's what I mean. You're taking away a primary score and you're taking away a secondary score in the same motion.
You double. I think that's the play. Is you just double up and go this way, and essentially just threaten that, because at that point I almost feel like she hits. So she moves up here, hits this point, kills the Contemptor here. Nothing is left that can go onto those objectives to challenge them.
Yeah,
And
dude,
then she goes that way.
mate, I actually think the correct play may have been that Helvrin drops down onto the bottom right objective. Yeah, the Helvrin drops down to the bottom right. The Megara goes up and just a millimeter onto the middle right, bottom one. They swap places, and the Skitarii go back where they were to get that 3-point engage and another 4 on Rod. I think that would have been the right call. And then the Megara threatens the entire center of the table rather than just threatening the backboard.
Yeah, because that's my worry is that if she puts both the Skitarii there, then how is she going to get the Rod in this corner? And if
she can't anymore. It's actually over. The Rod she has is going to be 8, and that's it. It's going to stay there.
And it also means that she's never going to be getting 3 on engage. It'll be at best
exactly
2.
right. Exactly right. Those Skitarii needed to go on the left or the top left. They shouldn't go on the top left because you just give the Blightlords a way to slingshot out of the way of the Megara. But that Megara going into the middle of the board, swapping places with the Helvrin, I think is the play. We're gonna head back to table 1, I believe, and see how this is unfolding. Man, give us your call of the game when we hit it.
Yeah. So
Never mind.
it turns out that table 2 is somehow still going.
Somehow still going.
He may have had a kill team in Deep Strike.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
But I was just like, by the time it comes in, Brandon's got the whole table locked out, and he has to come in his deployment zone. So it really doesn't add anything. Look at the score, man. What do you see for the scoreboard so far?
Okay, so the primary is clearly in Brandon's favor. Now, granted, it's somehow still only turn 2. These are the longest turns I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot going on, clearly. I mean, everything is happening in these first 2 turns on this table. So, Leap of Faith, he's going to have no problem scoring. We may be a little bit behind on some of the points here.
No, apparently this is up. We just got told by the table bosses this is up to date. I don't know how he hasn't scored Leap of Faith points.
Oh, yeah, I have not. How has he not scored Leap of Faith? That's interesting.
Yeah.
So
really
they are in round 3 on this table, actually. So that's off by 1. Wow, I guess he wasn't able to do multiple acts of faith. That seems odd.
Yeah, that seems really odd. His whole army is geared to do it every turn.
I'll say this though. I think Evan with no prisoners was a little presumptuous.
Yeah, when you want your stuff to die, it is pretty funny. That's a win more if I ever saw one.
Okay, so Leap of Faith does actually have 4 points. Let's jump over to table
there
1
we go.
and see
That
how
feels
that's
a bit
going.
better. Yeah, I was about to say I would be really surprised if Brandon wasn't getting 2 points a turn in his turn at least.
Oh yeah. Knowing him, absolutely. So it looks like table 1 here. Okay, so the full shift has happened. It looks like one of the DAC jets did actually get gunned down. And whoa, are all of the scrap jets down here dead?
That's a huge swing. That's ridiculous. He didn't kill the last of the war bikers, which is hilarious, but 3 scrap jets down. The beast boss is still alive. It looks like he's fallen back from combat or he's just getting out of dodge. But the shooting elements of this army have been neutered. Does he have enough firepower to win this game?
I don't think he does. I think with the loss of the scrap jets, I think that might be it.
Well, so because dude, he lost 4 scrap jets in that exchange. One of the blues and the full 3-man. That's ridiculous. I didn't think the Terminators had it in them.
Yeah, well, I guess having a second turn of Tactical Doctrine with, I mean, again, they only have a stock 4+ save, and there's enough volume with the missiles as well that they probably just get through, and you can just it's 1 unit of 3. You can just put all of your guns that direction.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, I don't know if he has. We know that Speedwalk is about to be over, which means that I doubt he has any volume to take out any more Terminators.
He doesn't. He can finish off the 10-man he almost had killed. But what's the point now? You don't need to kill them. Like it's not gaining anything by killing that unit. That he doesn't have to the last or anything like that. Dude, this is swinging hard in Joel's favor. How did he kill so many? How did he do that? How did he kill so many scrap jets? 9 wounds apiece with just what? Chain fists? Chain fists in combat?
It could be chain fists in combat. He could have also throttled the D6 on the missiles.
It I'm assuming he dropped CP for +1 to hit, things of that nature. But he does it, and all he would have is reroll ones to hitting on threes, then wounding on threes. I mean, they'd go straight through in the combat with no invuln save. But that's 27 wounds. And then another scrap. There's 36 wounds there to get through.
Okay, well, think about it like this. All he has to do is have one missile with 2 wounds get through and proc 9 wounds, and he's already way ahead.
That's
one
true.
scrapjet gone with 1 Cyclone missile launcher is a big deal.
Are you saying he's only got 4 missile launchers left on the table? Are you saying 4 missile launchers killed a scrapjet and a Dackerjet this turn? Because that would be crazy.
That's possible.
The only other situation is that one of the Dackerjets went off the table and didn't get shot down.
Okay, so it is possible with their placement. Well, no, because they were in a triangle formation with 2 back ones, right?
Yeah, they were. So it was a tri-point, and the front one is still on the table. So which leads me to believe that all 3 could have remained.
Yes, unless the piece of terrain up here barred the third one from being able to land properly.
Landing and just had to go off. Yeah, there's also a possibility. Also, where that scrapjet is a little bit awkward. I would have moved that scrapjet first before placing the other guys, placing the plane.
I feel like this may have been a mistake because if you wanted to shoot at anything that Dark Angels had, all he had to do was poke out just a tiny bit from this corner and still hold the objective, and then it gives plenty of the room for the planes to move. Although I guess he got a problem with that plane there.
Well, I think we may see this be the turning of the tide. There's no way from this position that Ben impacts Joel's primary at all. Joel is just going to coast to a 40. I predicted he was on track unless there was some big disruption to get a clean, easy 87 points in this game. And now I don't think there is any way for Ben to really impact that.
Okay, now I'm going to say this right now. If he manages to get his Terminator unit this direction...
So I think the Dackerjet's off the table because Bring It Down hasn't gone up. But Bring It Down hasn't gone up from killing 4 scrapjets either, so never mind. No. Continue.
So if he gets his... he still has 2 turns. If he manages to get the Terminators into anywhere near this corner, that's lights out.
Yeah. Also, the primary score here is off. There's no way for it to be turn 3 and him to have 35 primary. This must be turn 4. You there?
Okay, so we just found out that the Terminators managed to charge just one of the scrapjets and just ace all 3 of them.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane to me.
Well, I mean, you think about it,
wow.
auto 3 damage on chain fists.
Against vehicles, yeah. So everything was auto 3 damage there. Thunderhammers, chain fists.
It's the beautiful multiple of 3 that doesn't get denied against them.
And strength 8, but it's still like, wow, would not have thought that. It's a compromised unit as well. It's not a full 10-man. I think it's an 8-man. So
wow.
Yeah, just what a baller ass turn, Mr. Joel. Well freaking done.
Well, ironically as well, that the fact that he has so many Terminators remaining, the Squig Boss is almost never a threat to them anymore.
No, just ignore him. You can just literally the Dark Angels player can just stand. Doesn't need to roll any more dice. He can just stand, roll saves, and win the game now. I think
he's in the winning position at this point. Clearly, it's an uphill battle for the Orcs. I think I severely undervalued not only the inability to proc freebooters, but the entire army having essentially, not only the forest, but the transhuman. The entire army having transhuman just devalues so much of their shooting.
Essentially, you want to think about this game from the Orc point of view. There's no way to pick up an easy freebooters boost. Everything is -1 to hit due to forest. Everything's permanently transhuman, and everything has a 4+ invulnerable save. So you're hitting everything at best on 4s, most likely on 5s, wounding everything on 4s, going into a 4+. You're not doing much, which is why I thought he needed to front load and the loss of speed while turn 1, when he had all his efficacy, all his units available, was the go.
Also, all of the Dackerjets shooting any of those Terminators in cover, he just shifts those to the Storm Shields, and they have 3+ saves with 6 upfield, no pain.
Yeah, exactly right.
Okay. So that it turns out this is exactly how you throttle Deathwing into freebooters.
It is exactly what you do. Amazing, well done, Joel. This is inspired. I hope you don't play any Drakari because they will do the opposite to you. But man, you are making an absolute meal out of what is one of the most fearsome and terrifying armies in the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is I will admit I did not expect it to be throttled.
Me
this
either.
hard.
So I thought this would be a small loss for Joel. I thought he'd go down by 10 to 20 points, just because I thought the freebooters would keep him contained and would give him at some point give him a 5-point primary, and that's all I thought would decide the game. That would be a 10-point swing. As it sits right now, Ben's going to walk away with. Most likely a donut on retrieve due to an Auspex scan he was unaware of. Possibly he'll get 4 points though. He's going to get probably 10 for to the last. I don't see enough shooting power to kill either the Oh wait, sorry, no. He lost to Scrapjets. He's only got 5 to the last.
Yeah, he's only has 5 to the last, so we need that to be
Wow,
updated.
Okay. Yeah, Ben. So he's going to get a max of 4 on retrieve, a max of 5 on.
Well, that's what I was saying. If his Terminators go this way and take out that last to the last, that's it.
Well,
like
also,
no
like I
chance.
said, the primary score is at 35 right now. It's impossible to get a 35 on your primary on turn 3. It can't be done. You score 15 turn 1, 15 turn 2. That's 30 points. Impossible to get 35.
I also think, by the way, it's impossible for him now to get good engage or retrieve. Rod.
Well, this is what I was about to say. He can get 4 on Rod is the best I can see. I can't see him getting 8. Whereas, yeah, exactly right. And engage. I mean, the Daka Jets can split up and get him another turn or 2 of engage, maybe. But that's what's coming. That's coming turn 4 and turn 5 now. So maybe it's another 3 and another 3, which finishes him at 11. That's pretty poor for an engage with a freebooters list.
Yeah, and I forgot that he actually only has 1 commando unit and 1 Stormboy unit, which immediately did nothing. So,
well, I don't know where the commandos are. I know the Stormboys are gone.
They might. The commandos might still be off. Oh no, they would have had to come in. So,
yeah, exactly right. Well, I'm of the opinion that this is turn 4 because of what the primary score says.
It's probably turn 4, which means they're probably dead.
Yeah, which means they're probably dead.
Or this is the commandos right there.
Yeah, that's about to say. That's the only option for them being on the table is where they could be. We can see the grots. We can see the grots in the L on the bottom left-hand corner. Yes. But yeah, that's the only thing that the commandos could be right now.
This has to be the commandos. He has no other infantry that could be.
Well, exactly right. There's no other infantry in the list because the Stormboys are dead. Man, great game by Joel. He held to his guns. Really, he played like a.
I lost the top up.
Played with such confidence, really, in a matchup that most people would say, this guy obviously knows, he knew this game top down. I honestly didn't, when I said that this was a bad mission for him, I looked at Vital Intelligence, I looked at the matchup, I didn't look at the fact he deployed his entire army in forests.
Oh, that is what I missed when you first pointed it out. I was like, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
And with no easy freebooters targets and 30 Terminators in forest. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly right. Crypt Show, in Rod we trust, love it. And Kiddo Crew Gaming, this is pretty much over. I tend to agree, mate. I think there's nothing going to be stopping Joel Wilson from getting that 87-point win. Where do you think Ben Juris going to end up on the point scale? Because he was like a number 2 ranked player. A fat loss, like a big scoring loss, could still see him possibly into the top 8. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry, we're having a little problem with the on-screen arrows. We're seeing to get that resolved. But I mean, okay, here's a question. Is there any freebooter list that can deal with this Dark Angels list?
Yeah, but it needs the mortal wounds. It needs to have the Smasher Squigs and the Squig boss. Already got the Squig boss. Add in the Smasher Squigs, because one thing this list hates is mortals. He does have Lazarus to counteract the mortals to give you a 5+ against them, but you're always going to have like 1, maybe 2 bricks that you can put the mortal wounds into, because Lazarus can only be so many places. And what you want to do is turn 1 and turn 2, 10 Terminators have to be gone. You have to kill 10 Terminators in turn 1 and turn 2. Is a must. And then you can chip away, and probably end up killing 20. Like, bet on killing 20 Terminators across 5 turns.
Okay, I'm going to say right now, I'm pretty familiar with freebooters and with orcs in general. I don't know if there's a way possible can kill Terminators.
Did you say orcs, or did you say freebooters?
Oh, I said freebooters orcs.
Okay,
is there a freebooters orcs list that can take this Dark Angels? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they do either. A Death Skulls list just plays Drakari-esque into these guys, MSU Obsex, and beats them. Like pretty reliably. These guys are talking at the last couple of games. It's pretty plottable from here. The Orcs have lost any ability to interact with the Dark Angel score. They're going to get that 87. Possibly, I might even be unders on my prediction of 87. You could get some more, especially if he walks into the middle and maxes on Oath. Could be looking at 92 there. So we'll hit a quick transition. We'll come back to this one when we get a final score. Let's go and see how Trisha and Marcus are doing. Captain Athenos has asked, Knobs on Squigs, eat this junk up with a Beast Boss and Kill Rig. That's my exact point, mate. You put in enough mortal wounds to kill like a third to half a Terminator unit, and then have the freebooter shooting. Because then, like, if you did enough mortal wounds, like the next turn, the freebooters can pick it up, proc it, and then half kill another squad. Maybe opportunistically.
Oh,
but
so you're saying they would essentially have to stage the Terminator
exactly,
units to give them
exactly.
freebooters? Yes,
exactly. You'd have to do that, either that or target out one of the black blade guard, because that was the idea. You use the mortal wounds to eke out half a squad, dunk, and then next turn dunk the shooting, proc it, and then hopefully half kill another one. Bomb Squigs eat up DA as well. Great point by FireDrake22. But yeah, I think just a different, like Death Skulls, Speed Freaks, or even Blood Axles is a better build into this archetype.
I think we were talking about as well. I think a less full commit freebooters list that has more of the gameplay, like even a Death Skulls detachment that's just all infantry to score objectives is better.
Like if he had another unit of Storm Boys, well, he just has 4 more points on Rod and probably 2 more points on Engage. But he's only got 1 unit of each, and therefore, sorry, mate, you don't get them.
And unfortunately, as we're seeing on table 3, exactly what we feared happened, which is now we have Death Route Terminators in the back objective.
Exactly right. And she did. Why didn't she move the Scorpius? I don't understand that one.
I think that might have just been a mistake, but I'm almost wondering the switch here. I think that this might actually be too late. I think both Megiras needed to be center field for this to have any chance.
I remember what I thought. So it's Qatari on the bottom right should have been over on the left-hand side to give her 2 more points on Engage and another 4 points on Rod. Then the Megara should be going into the middle, targeting down, shoot that PBC, or getting a charge and advance and charge onto that Contemptor in the forest. Possibly. I mean, probably a huge charge with the -2 on it. Might not be possible.
What's interesting, though, is I wonder when the Blightlord Terminators are deployed, because they were clearly on the table on turn 1.
Turn 1. Correct.
So how early did she deploy her Megiras? Because if she had sent them both that direction, she probably would have been in better shape.
Yeah, if they both had a double down on one of them, and dude, if in Vital Intel, you know it's going to be Hammer and Anvil. The guy in the player in the bottom left is always going to go to the top left objectives, and vice versa. So 2 Megaras deployed to harass those top 2 left objectives against a slow, ponderous Death Guard army probably would have been money, man.
Yeah, and
we just got to confirm that they did place the forest first. Called it. Well, why not, Andrew? Love it. We knew it.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling that, of course, Joel put down the first one, and then likely Ben was like, "Oh crap!
Oh sweet Jesus! I need a forest as well. I need to take 1 forest off Joel. So gimme. Yeah. Because if he has control of all of them, like it's just going to be a bad day.
So it's looking like the final score is 93 Dark Angels and 60 Freebooters.
Yeah. So he ended up maxing Oath. He got into the middle of the table, got 2 score, 2 maxed. So he maxed Oath. He just did a great job.
No, he was 2 points off from Oath, so he did not max Oath. He maxed the other 2.
There we go. So yeah, 13 Oath, 15 Data Intercept, and 15 for Bring It Down. Of course, Bring It Down was always going to be maxed. Data Intercept I was pretty confident it was going to be maxed, and yeah, it didn't end up getting Oath of the moment, but like we said, was always going to be a really comfy 10 points, right?
Yeah, and then we see as well again. Retrieve Rod on for Ben, like that was a critical error.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. To the last in this mission, I mean, the WAS bomb's probably always going to go down, but knowing that you're putting your scrap jets in reserve and they're always going to be chargeable, and he's got chain fists, maybe that was a mistake.
I agree. I think that to the last was probably a bad choice.
Yeah.
What
would you have taken instead?
Ooh, that's tough. I actually think. He would have been better. Did he? Sorry, we lost the secondaries. Did he have Engage? Because he should have had. Yeah. He should have had Engage a Rod automatically.
Yeah.
He did have Engage a Rod to the last. What would have been a better one than that?
I was thinking like he might have won. Well, I would have, if I was him, I would have dropped Rod for Vital Intel, and I would have deployed the Storm Boys, deployed the Commandos, and just taken the 3 points a turn off Vital, and then use the planes and the scrap jets to go and get all your engage points.
I 100% agree with that, because essentially the Dark Angel player has no way to get rid of those infantry units if you just play them conservatively. So yeah,
Exactly right. So it'd
100%
be
agree.
that would be an auto 10 because you sit in your safe little L objective and then the one in the top left, and then opportunistically chuck Storm Boys onto the middle one and just pick up. If you do that for 2 turns, 14 points. So much better than what he got, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Looks like we're going to hit a transition over to table 3, get a final call there. Anybody? Do you know what the tiebreakers are in this one? Greedy Hammer said, asked, do you know if victory points count towards tiebreakers?
Actually, I don't know. How do we treat tiebreakers?
I don't know. Usually it's victory points or strength of schedule or one combination. I don't know which one comes first though.
As far as progression, I think it goes into total points.
That makes sense. It makes sense if that's first, and then it goes down to strength of schedule. Should you somehow be on exactly the same points? As it sits right now, we're looking like I feel like Justin's just going to keep edging a little bit further away. Although the scores look pretty close right now, don't they?
They look closer than I expected. I mean, obviously Trisha is scoring very well on our secondaries, not as well on Engage as she should have. As again, we think that there should have been a Skatara unit down here to be scoring Engage for her. But they're both now on 10 of 2 the last, so that's evened out completely.
So
this
one of the
a difference of 5 points.
One of the PBCs is gone now, that means, because we know the Terminator's still there. So what's really important here, though, is what's going to be the deciding factor, is those Death Shroud making it into the back line. So Death Shroud made it onto Trish's home objective, and a Helverin or a Warglaive has made it onto Justin's home objective, except those Death Shroud hold that objective where Warglaive does not hold that. Helverin does not hold that objective.
It's not even contesting because of we can see that there's objective secured units back here that can clearly grab the objective through the wall.
Yeah, spot on. But yes, Trish is still scoring extremely well. 8 on Retrieve Octarius, that's pretty good. I don't expect that to go up again, though, unfortunately, with both of her Skatarians being in the bottom right-hand corner.
Needed it there.
Engage North Fronts, she could still easily get another 2 points or possibly even 4 points. Actually, no, this is turn 4, probably only another 2 points at most. And to the last, hopefully she's holding on to these last 10 points. Most likely it's the Scorpius, which is the Scorpius is 150, yeah, so it could be the Helverin.
I would actually imagine it's the Helverin, which is why it's running.
Yeah.
And
the Scorpius is 145, the Helverin's 155. So it's the Helverin and the Majera are her last 2, and she's good odds to keep those points.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I still give the favor to Justin in this matchup. I think he'll eke ahead just a little bit, but I think Trisha's putting up a hell of a fight.
I think next turn, in turn 5, I don't see how Justin doesn't get a 15. I think he gets a 15 in his turn 5, and I think Trisha gets a 10, and I think that's going to be a 10 to 15 point differential.
Yeah, that'll probably be the deciding factor.
Oh, actually, Trisha might only get a 5. She's only holding 2 right now. In her turn, if she's got the bottom of turn, she'll need to clear off an objective in order to not get 10.
Was she bottom?
I believe she is bottom. I might be mistaken though. I might get a table boss to check.
She was bottom? Okay, so she was bottom turn, so
I
she might be able to squeeze a 10. I don't think she can squeeze a 15.
I don't think she can squeeze a 15 from where she is. She'd need an advance in charge. Maybe she's got 2 CP and that Megara can make it to the Death Shroud, because that's the only way I see she gets a 15.
The only other way. Oh, sorry about that. The only other way is essentially, I think, if this Scorpius manages to fall back and Helverin comes around and manages to get on the objective and kills one or 2 of the Death Shrouds, I think that's the only other way.
Yeah. The other one is to. But see, all he has to do is all Justin has to do is not touch the wall in that ruin. Although, how you ruining it? Those guys in the ruin can be viewed. Yeah, they're in the obscuring ruin.
They can be viewed. Yes.
Just needs to shoot them down. So shoot them down. That Warglaive charges in. So the Majera shoots them down. The Warglaive charges in, picks up that character. And then that's it. That's 3 to that's 3 to 3. That'll get you to 10 at least.
That'll give it. Yeah. I mean, I think that the only real choice now is for the Megara to go this way. Because the Megara is logically the only thing that can really pick up my brain's going blank. The infantry, the Death Guard infantry.
If she knows she's going down by 5 to 10 points, you just yeet the Megara. See if it makes it to the Blight Lords. 2 CP. She's got 2 CP left. She's going to go up to 3. See if you get a 6 on the advance. You re-roll it. You got 3 CP. Get the 6. Go 18 inches. Get the charge into the Death Shroud. Somehow kill them all, which you won't. And then need to. She would need to shoot and charge them to have any chance of killing all 8, which she can't do if she advances, of course. That's House Raven. Give us House Raven. She'll be able to, guys. Just letting you know. Yeah, exactly right. Well, see, I personally really like House Raven. I do see the appeal of Crast. Crast is so powerful. But in this list, she's got two. She's only taking advantage of it with what? Two Megaras, which get the rerolled hits, and two Warglaves get the rerolled hits. Whereas if you have Raven on them, they all get to advance and charge. You just get more mobility, more dynamics out of your list. So this is the last game for the day here, guys. But we're gonna have 2 more days of games starting tomorrow with round 4. Please throw up right now. Throw up any requests you have, any mates or any undefeated people that you know of that are close to you, friends of yours, or have interesting factions or lists you'd like to see us start tomorrow off with. Some funny notes. We've seen a couple of upsets. Brian Pullen, the reigning champion, the most recent SoCal, did go down in his round 2 against, I think it was Ben Jurek. I think he got done by the Freebooters, which is no surprise. They can just go first and beat anybody in this event. Look at Mr. Sean Naden there. Hello, Sean. We'll probably be seeing him some point tomorrow, unless he takes an L. But yeah, this is a really spicy event. Some really exciting lists. I'm so enjoying the development of the meta. Just seeing the fact that Dark Angels have such an amazing archetype into Freebooters, albeit a bit of a boring archetype. It's really exciting for me personally as a Dark Angels player. Hopefully it gives you guys a little bit look at the outer circle. A lot of sloppy looking rigs out there, mate. If you're part of the community, that's all we got. Just nothing but sloppy boys and girls. Love them to death. Jordan Glenthill is 3-0 with Sisters, running 30 Sacrosants. So yeah, if we can get him on for round 4 tomorrow, we will. That is by Evil Pro 40k. I'll get it. We'll see if we can get him on. Looks like we're wrapping up. We're going to get the final scores in. I'll see if I can get you those updated, and then we're going to be signing out for the rest of the day. I'm going to get some sleep, not speak as much as humanly possible. None of the scores have been updated, so if we can get our table bosses to just message them through, that'd be greatly appreciated. And surprisingly, the Brandon Grant game is still going on. Absolute kudos to Evan Stump, knowing that he probably lost turn 1, but played the game out in order to, just have the utmost integrity for his opponent and for the game, and just get as many points as he can. Like you said, you might be able to scrape a top 8. 222 players. There are going to be some players who've taken an L going into that top 8 for sure after 6 rounds. So yeah, get as many points as you can. It is very important to do right by your score. We'll just get the final scores confirmed, guys. I will lay them on you as soon as I get them. Oh, it's on the table. 90 to 27. Well, good on him for playing it out. I thought he would be getting a few more points than that for all the trial and the effort and the extra hours he put in. But dude, kudos to him anyway. 90 to 27. I would like to say that is about bang on what I thought Brandon was going to get. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he got 100 from the way he just slaughtered that turn 1. But anyway, transitioning over, or we're ready to call this one, Val. You tell me what you want to do. Andrew sprinting back from the bathroom. Just get it together, man. Get a pee bottle. Stay the course. No, do not get a pee bottle, and by all means, go to the bathroom. Okay. Nukeman 404, is the Death Watch just Ultramarines? I'm tapping my nose right now, not as shaking my head and trying to confuse you. Yes, no, definitely Death Watch. I see black on that table. Love it. So yeah, dude, 27 to 90 to Brandon Grant. He absolutely slaughtered that game.
Okay, we may have been a little wrong with the Orc game, but I think we were right on the money with that game.
Yeah, I think we were right on the. I think we called it about right with the Orcs. I was just really happy to get about right with the Death Guard and Knights. That just looked like a really good matchup. We wanted to showcase 2 people who had taken an L, but the matchup looked really fun, really exciting, because that looks like it's going to be like a 10 or a 20 point game at most. The Evan Stump game with Brandon Grant, we knew it was as soon as we saw Brandon go first. I think we could have said Brandon was going to win. Maybe we couldn't have called he was winning by 70 points, 63. But it was going to be a big win.
Yeah, I'll say that from a tactical standpoint, and I think you agree that perhaps the Death Watch player didn't place the terrain as well as he could have, because he kind of left himself in the open.
The Outer Circle. If this is the gentleman from the Outer Circle Facebook page who comments a lot on 30k content, then I've shook your hand, mate. We were hanging out in Ballarat a couple of months ago now at a 2-dayer. So we've actually met. So shame on you for not remembering me.
Look at you thinking you're popular or something.
I know, thinking I'm worth remembering. He's like, oh, there's some Aussies. That's pretty good. But yeah, what do you think the scoreline's going to be for these last 2 games?
Okay. So I think that, as predicted before the Knights game, I think the Knights versus Death Guard, the Death Guard are going to be ahead likely by 10 to 12 points towards the end. I think it's actually going to be fairly close. As we can see in the secondaries, the game is actually very close in the secondaries.
It is, yeah. So 9-9, 9-9, 10. So 28 to 12-12, 12-10-9 to, 31. 28 to 31 on secondaries. So extremely close.
Yeah, Trisha obviously is scoring incredibly well in the secondary department, but I think the loss of the Magira early essentially made it so that the primary was just very difficult for her to maintain.
No problems. The Outer Circles just said, that was Macca, this is Kat. Sorry, mate, I'll let my man know. Not a problem. Lovely to meet you, Kat. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for saying hello. Appreciate it.
Hello! You don't know who I am.
No, this is Andrew. This is Andrew Dickinger. The elephant of 40K.
That's my name forever now.
It is. I'm going to stick it. By the end of the 27 hours of streaming we're going to do for this event, you will know him as nothing else. I promise you that.
And we will never explain what it means, other than him saying, I never forget.
Dude, we're back with the Lehman Russ in the drop pod. Man, I look forward to running a drop pod again someday soon. They're actually not that bad.
Oh, they definitely have play, especially since so many armies are throttling to have a turn 1 advantage. So...
yeah, spot on. Exactly right. Or like in that beta strike against your opponent's alpha strike. You just went all in turn 1? Well, punch him in the nose. So I think I just wanted to get a confirmation. We've been told we can wrap this up any time. I just want to get a confirmation of who is going to win that Trisha versus Marcus game. If we can get our tabletop standing by there, that'd be greatly appreciated. We've got 20 minutes left in the round, but most games are wrapping up at this point. Do we want to go through the ladder? Who's actually got a win so far for undefeated players? Joel Wilson, they have chucked in the score there. Like we said, he did get the 93-point win. Matt Estrada sitting in second place, undefeated with Colt Mechanicus. You looking at any of these others, mate?
Yeah, I mean, Brandon, obviously. Tyler won his 3rd game, so Tyler is a freebooter that's going to the top tables in round or day 2, I guess.
There are 3 undefeated Orc players in the top 10. We have 2 undefeated Sisters, 1 undefeated Drakari as of yet, and 2 Admech and 1 lowly Dark Angel sitting on top of the pile. What a man.
Yeah, because it looks like as well, Brick Taylor won with his sisters, so both sisters going to top tables. That's really awesome.
Pretty nice. Great showing so far. And naturally, we have a bunch of extra games coming in. Still to come. Brandon Grant's currently sitting in 10th. Jordan Glendhill being both of our sister players, as I said. Mike McTire sitting in 8th. 7th is Brick Taylor. So actually, it's 3. That is 3 sisters players. So the same amount of sisters as Orcs players in our top 10 after day 1. Rounding out, we have Colin McDade playing Orcs. Tyler Russo with the Freebooters as well. Jeff Jew on Colt Mechanicus. Anthony Cohen, Freebooters. Matt Estrada, Colt Mechanicus. And yeah, our man Joel Wilson playing the Triple Brick Dark Angels.
Okay, so here's a question for you. Do you think the sisters pair well against freeboot Orcs? Because I don't think they do.
I don't think they do either, man. I think the Waz Bomb just gets to kill wherever it wants, either that be at a Rhino or...
I think the Dagger Jets get to kill whatever they want.
That's true. That's true. I mean, a Junith is very good insulation against the Darker Jets, like very good insulation. But still, you're right. They still do a bunch. Wounding on 2s with just that many shots, and as soon as you proc Speedwire, they will just kill any 5-man they want.
Well, I guess my question is, obviously, I haven't seen if Brick Taylor is also essentially playing over the same tech that Brandon Grant is playing with regards to being able to then die and still inflict damage. Yep. So if Brick Taylor is following that, then they're in actually a better place than I would imagine. But maybe Brandon Grant, if he gets the advantage and gets to shoot first, kills a bunch of things, then the Retributors get killed, but then still kill even more.
Exactly right. I need to address the chat. I've got a couple of Aussies in the chat. Captain Athenos, he said, not you, Adam, go Cats. So he's a fan of the Geelong football team. This will be entirely over everyone else's head who's not an Aussie. Well, where did your team finish this year, mate? Because my team's the Bulldogs, and we finished 2nd. We didn't finish, but we did better than yours. So, ha!
What's all this silliness you're talking about? I don't know. These aren't sports.
We're just talking about the greatest sport known to mankind. Humankind. AFL football, the best. I wish I still had enough unbroken bones to play it again. All right, where are we sitting with this last table? So right now that we're sitting, it's 73 to 61. So yeah, that 10 to 20 point differential is holding true right now, and Trisha needs to pull this one back, guys. Looks like she's pulled that Helverin out, like you thought. That Helverin has to come out, has to try and do some damage into these Death Shred. Looks like one Death Shred has been killed by shooting into combat, though.
Okay, so that's actually best case scenario. If there's only one, there might be only one Death Shroud here, which means that she actually holds that objective.
Exactly right, exactly right. And she still holds the bottom 2 as well. If she was able to do enough damage into the bottom left, that's a 15-pointer. If she was able to take the bottom left. Final scores coming in for you guys. We will update you shortly.
A 2-point difference.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So initial predictions were right on the money.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, I really didn't think it was going to be that close. Absolutely amazing game by both participants. That's why I wanted to give it to you guys. Firstly, showcasing some of the badass ladies in our scene, getting them on stream. Game. Absolute took them both to the limit. 71-73 could not be closer. That is a phenomenal effort by both players. Well done.
So the last piece, just to say, with regards to Sisters' predictions going forward, Brick Taylor is not playing in the same system that Brandon is with his I always get to shoot. So
yep, he's playing the more conventional Bloody Rose build, or
he's playing Sacred Rose actually. So I think he's going for the move-in or the Mortal Wound defense, maybe.
Yep. So he's playing more into the, say, T-Sun's Grey Knights and some of the Orc builds rather than trying to negotiate. Because I think like Brandon Grant is more for mechanized AdMech and for the Orcs. He's less for the Grey Knights, less for things like Judrakari, even though he's still quite good at Judrakari as well. But yeah, I think there's some interesting Sisters builds coming out. People are being forced due to necessity because Sisters... They're an ebb and flow. They've got so many good builds that you can really just pick the meta, but you do need to pick the meta because if you pick it correctly, you just got a bad list.
It's the mark of a great codex. That essentially there's so much flexibility to how you can construct an army. And honestly, I like what Brandon is doing with his army comparatively to a lot of what we were seeing, which was just a sacrosanct blob with a ton of characters you can't shoot, which essentially just goes in the center but has no flexibility. And exactly I think probably Freeboota's Squig Buggies completely destroyed that build. So, I mean,
you're probably right.
They go through sacrosancts like crazy.
Yeah, what time are we back tomorrow morning, Andrew? 9:30 PST. We are due to start. That is a lovely 3:30 in the morning for myself. Can't wait to see you there. But dude, Andrew. It's just fine. It's just fine, guys. I'm here for it. Andrew, you're going to go get some rest. You're going to go have a nice night on the town with the boys. Hope you have a wonderful time.
I mean, I would love to. I hope that's part of the...
We're gonna sign off, I believe. You want to take us out, Andrew? Say lovely good night, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for joining SoCal Open 2021. This is the end of round 1, or day 1, we should say. Day 2 starts tomorrow, as he said, at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time, and we hope to see you all there.
Beautiful. Love you all, guys. Thanks for all the support. Enjoy some more games tomorrow. See you then. Go over and support Starter Scrub over on Twitch. If you finish watching us, there'll be another game starting for them literally right now. Love you all. Good night. See you tomorrow. Mwah.
Awesome. See ya.